All right, I believe that is the beginning. So each of you should have in your journal your own character sheet. I believe those are restricted now to only you. And you should have, I believe, one handout, the refugee list. Is that correct?
Oh, I can see David's.
Oh, okay, that's the only one. Yeah, because he hadn't logged in yet, so I have two.
Okay.
I'll just give it directly to him and take y'all away. Which really, this is just, I'm OCD about being clean about these things. So there we go. Now everyone should have it separate.
It sounds like he's setting up online classes.
Yeah. So if everyone has audio, I believe it's Karen, Michelle, and Sean that have not played a Roll20 game like this.
I played for about 2 or 3 months, like 2 years ago.
Okay, but so you have like a basic experience beyond.
I have a basic experience with it.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Sean and I have basic experience too. I was playing.
Okay. I did go over your character sheets as far as the settings are concerned. I believe those are correct, but if we hit any sort of hiccups on the way, we can fix them. It's no big deal. So yeah, if you have any questions about how to do something or if you don't know where something is, I have full access to everything you see on your sheets. So, one moment. This is a volume check. I'm going to be playing some ambient city sounds, and you can adjust your audio if you feel like that's too loud. Is that okay for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, we are playing Season 9, Episode 2, Stopped at the Gate of Adventure League. This adventure is going to begin by all of you traveling with a group of refugees as you are making your way out of El Terrell, a city who's suddenly disappeared. The companion, second sun in the sky, sucked down with it. Nobody seems to really know what happened. The rumors fly as your traveling companion group are trying to piece back their life, and really the only location they know is Baldur's Gate. And so on your way, you do all have a handout, I believe, for the refugee list. There are a few people that you get to know kind of on the way as you travel. The first one is Dara, a female human who's only about 10 years old, but was raised as a priest of El Mater in so pretty far south. But she has made her way up here somewhat on her own and pretty calm for the particular situations you find yourself in. And she also is traveling with a companion named Goran and his goat, Clyde. Goran is a very elderly man, nearly 70 years of age, very doddering, wears dusty clothes, worn for years of hard work. He has a stooped gait that he has a smooth used staff he kind of leans on. And but despite his age and this being Faerun, still pretty sharp, no nonsense, has a story for most everything. And as he's accompanied Dara this way, he kind of leans on her as like a second or third daughter that he just has kind of basically adopted her as they go. The goat, however, Clyde, is obstinate and doesn't like anybody. In general, Goran has to smack the goat away from eating his clothes at almost every moment. The other person you have come to know is Vasha Hall. She has become the de facto leader of this group as you've been traveling away from El Terrell. She used to run an inn called the Fabled Fawn on the outskirts of El Terrell, but since the city was destroyed, everybody is essentially fleeing the area, unknown why this occurred, and maybe they might be next. And she is traveling with her husband, Segrin Hall, who unfortunately was kicked in the head by a horse right during the aftermath of the descent, during the chaos. And he has been unconscious since, being held up in one of the carts that travel with you, being tended to by Vasha and others. There are a few others. Ipan, a halfling, Miller, who's been guarding the supplies and the refugees salvaged from the ruins of their homes. There's a male half-elf named Pal, that's his assistant, younger but competent. And you can read the rest at your own leisure. Most of them are simply people who were either traveling to or out of El Terrell right before the descent, and now have literally nothing to their names in the midst of this natural disaster. So as far as how all of your characters tie in, is there a particular reason why you would be either traveling to or through El Terrell at this time? Anyone at all?
Well, I'm just traveling around trying to be super famous. Just, wanting my parents said I should share my voice with the world. And so I'm just doing what they ask.
Sometimes we don't always need to follow what our parents tell us to do. So I'm ready to just stare me down some hellhounds. Fight the good fight.
Oh yeah, you see opportunity.
Story.
Thank you. Thank you kindly.
Yeah, you see opportunity in the tragedy. Well, the rumors are that perhaps this calamity might spread. So if you were to travel to another populated city, perhaps they're next.
This is a good place.
David, do you have any particular reason for being near El Terrell?
Sorry, I was finishing up eating. Jimmy is very outgoing, but he's also not the brightest, so he will just see a crowd and walk along with them, just happy to be there.
I mean, yeah, if you're, at least with your experience in the arcane, in any sort, you'd be welcome, as the tradeway is known to be dangerous. And after the descent itself, there's such a refugee exodus down here that everybody is scraping by, trying to get enough resources to simply live their daily life. So everyone's hoarding whatever they manage to save along the way. All right, so as you make your way across the Great Tradeway, a large road that stretches all the way north to Waterdeep, passing through El Terrell as well. David, you're kind of picking up some extra sound on your mic. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just moved to the back room. My wife was trying to do dishes while I was trying to move out.
Okay, just making sure. The journey hasn't been without hardship, and upon reaching the city, is a relief from the tired refugees as you finally see some semblance of civilization. However, as you come out into the outer city, you can see that the streets are full of people, all rushing about their business and slowing the road travel to a crawl. So as far as Baldur's Gate's concerned, you come across the Chantar River on the Worms Crossing. You see Duskhawk Hill, the massive mountain that kind of sits to the southern border of the city itself, that kind of crescents around the outer city. And the outer city is a through and through slums. The road is not kept up at all. At some point, you might have seen cobblestones poking through the mud, but the area here, so near the coast, is wet and sodden and miserable. Everybody living around here from all walks of life seem to be destitute. Most of them you can see kind of wearing the common clothes of El Terrell, as other refugee bands have shown up before you, and you can see even from the way you came, others coming behind. Walking through the streets, you would at least hear the rumors that Basilisk Gate, the gate you are approaching to enter the city proper, is currently not accepting visitors and is on lockdown. As you begin to approach, you can see off to the side, one moment. That's not what I wanted. There we go. For a moment, Dara, the small 10-year-old Ilmater refugee girl stops and stares down an alleyway. You see Goran and Clyde sort of stop with her, and he kind of leans over. He's like, "What's wrong, little one?" And Dara just kind of mouthlessly points down the hall. And as you all kind of walk past slowly through this massive crowd, you can see it's an alleyway just filled with about 9 different corpses, just piled up and kind of shoved into this recess just to get out of the way of the street. And you see Goran just kind of put his hand on the side of Dara's face, pushing her gently. "Come on, there's no time for that. We'll be all right." You see the rest of the refugees looking amongst themselves nervously, as this place seems to be quite lawless and very, very desperate.
So the bodies looked like they were murdered, or just general chaos going on right now?
Would you like to go investigate?
Sure.
Okay. Give me a medicine check.
All right, that's going to be awesome. Okay, so
Hey!
hey!
First roll of the night.
All right.
All right, yeah. Go. Like walking into the alley. There's a somewhat gruff-looking dwarf kind of leaned up against the wall, kind of sees you walk in the alley. He doesn't move or anything, but he seems he's smoking this very stubby pipe. Just eyes you. You walk past him and look at the bodies on the street. All of them seem to be stripped of almost all their belongings, wearing destitute clothes or just stripped clothes themselves. You can definitely tell that they have been straight up murdered.
Okay.
Multiple stab wounds, blunt contusions to the head. It's an absolute mess, but it doesn't smell. Most of these bodies seem very, recent.
I'm gonna turn into a cat.
He just he smiles his 3 foot, he's like 3'7", and he smiles his big grin of broken yellow teeth.
You know anything about this?
I do. You haven't seen a snuff alley before, have you? Welcome to Baldur's Gate.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah. Claiborne, in her background, would just smile and nod and be like, okay. She maybe turns a brighter shade of red or blue or whatever color I am.
Yeah, as you leave the alley, he's like, "Welcome to Baldur's Gate."
I'm going to make sure that the little girl is nowhere near the alley or any of the refugees. Be like, all right, let's just move along.
Yeah, it's slow going. As you make your way over there, you see minor arguments and altercations break out. Someone gets smashed in the face with what looks like a rock thrown from somebody else. There's just general hostility and malevolence just hangs in the air in this place. And as you get close to the gate, you see a cadre of Flaming Fist. These guards stand in front of the gate. They have the red livery of the Flaming Fist with their symbol blazoned on the leather of their chest. All of them have cudgels in their hands that they just hold lovingly. You see that,
as well as protective eyewear.
yeah. And as you see, there's just a throng of people just surrounding them in a small semicircle. As a few of them attempt to walk up and talk to them, generally get turned away. From a distance, you can't quite hear what they're saying. But you notice that there's just a big waiting crowd on the outside of Basilisk Gate. And as you walk up, you can see what the Basilisk Gate is known for, or why it's called this. There are multiple statues of different creatures and people that line the alleyway up to the gate itself. It is a massive gate. It is, think the Arc de Triomphe, but just slightly smaller. And I'm going to see if I can actually share an art thing. And tell me if y'all see this, because I'm going to try something new. Did y'all see that pop up or no?
No.
Okay, so then I have to actually share this. So if I do this, does that work?
Yes.
Ah.
So yeah, as you walk up, the foggy sea air surrounds this massive gate that is just solid stone gray. As you get closer, you can see that whatever rainfall happened either the night before has left this slick gray water just over everything, making every cobblestone you step on slippery and hard to stand straight. As the refugees kind of pile up behind you, there we go. Vasha kind of walks up. So, what's the plan? How are we getting inside? Though they don't look too friendly.
I mean, I can try to talk to them.
Sure,
Yeah, you have a very soothing voice.
if you think it'll help.
So, is there... How many of these guards are in charge of the gate?
You can see there's 6 in total from what you can visually see, just manning the gate itself. 2 of them stand in front that are taking people as they walk up. But you see that nobody's actually entering.
All right, I am going to, as I start to approach, I'm going to start playing a song and take about a minute to walk up there. And use my enthralling performance.
Okay.
And I would like to try to get whoever looks the 2 creatures or 2 guards that look most in charge needs them to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. They are guards, so 1 second.
That's CC 12.
Wisdom saves for each. All right. First one will fail. The second one will absolutely fail.
Okay. So I'm going to approach them and say, hello, good sirs. We are travelers and have just come off the road from a very grueling journey. We had important business in the city. We would love to be let in, if you will.
Okay. Tell me what your enthralling performance does. I'm not familiar with it.
They're charmed for 1 hour or until they take damage or I attack them or they see me attack and damage allies.
And it's just like
they're charmed.
It's like the charm condition.
Mm-hmm.
Which means they see you as a friend, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Regards you as a friendly acquaintance.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. What would a flaming fist consider a friend?
Fire. Fire with eyewear.
Yeah.
That's the cult.
Oh, that's the cult. That's the,
Yeah, the cult of the eternal flame.
that's the protective eyewear.
As you walk through the crowd, you see almost everyone's hushed, worried conversations kind of fall to the wayside as they become entranced by you. Walking up to them, their harsh and pretty pointed conversation to what looked to be a very old man and his wife kind of stops as all of them kind of watch you walk forward. And as you make your plea, you see the one in front kind of, oh, that was really beautiful, miss.
Why, thank you. I'm Miss Anackle. I'm going to be very famous very soon.
What? I would love to help you through. I really would. We have orders, you see. It's my job. To be honest, if he kind of leans forward like he's trying not to include the old man and his wife in this conversation. If you want in, you're going to have to make a special plea to Flame Darin.
Flame Darin?
Yes. Flame Darin. Flame is a title in the Flaming
Okay.
Fist, so he's saying it like officer.
Everybody's named Flame.
Yeah. I can take you to see her. He kind of looks over to his friend, who kind of nods like, of course, like we know her.
Oh, that would be absolutely lovely. Oh, could my friends accompany me?
Oh, you see a broad smile on his face, like, fear not say anything. We've gone through quite a bit.
Oh, you are too kind. Thank you.
A friend of yours is a friend of mine.
Claiborne's going to do her best attempt at curtsies.
It's slippery where you are, so it's a little awkward, but yeah, he kind of does a very short whistle and kind of puts his hands up in the air, and two other of the flaming fists come out to take his place as he kind of motions on. He kind of looks over your shoulder and sees there is probably 14 total refugees with you, including carts, animals, and supplies. And he kind of looks over your side and is like, you're going to have to find some place for your friend. I can't take all of you.
Do you have anywhere you'd recommend?
He kind of thinks for a moment and goes in his pocket and pulls out what looks like 2 silver and kind of tosses it to Vasha. I know a porter right down the way. It's just a block and to your left.
Wonderful.
He kind of smiles again. It's like, right this way.
Can't handle
After
it.
you.
All right. First hurdle down. So as you are led through the Basilisk Gate, it's just the party of 5. That's all you wanted to bring, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You actually don't go very far at all. You walk through the gate and take a very sharp right, and then a very sharp right again into an open stone doorway that leads into the gate itself. As you go up a couple of stone steps and through a hallway that seems to go above the gate itself into the other side, he leads you into a office that looks to be about 30 feet square. It is brightly lit by the afternoon sunlight filtering through the window, and you can definitely hear just the noise and commotion of the urban life coming through there. In the room itself is a very neat and orderly desk with paperwork neatly laid out, and you can see a very tall woman with bright red hair with the red sash of the Flaming Fist sitting there in almost plain clothes, and she has a set of leather armor in front of her that she's polishing with this oily rag. And as she kind of hears the footsteps coming down the hall, she looks up and with a nod to the guard, he pats you on the back this and says, "Until we see each other again."
It was lovely to meet you.
Yeah, just nods and continues on his way. And as you walk in, you hear the voice from Flame Darin. "Welcome to Baldur's Gate. Is it everything you've hoped for?"
And then some.
It's certainly better than Skullport.
What is her alignment?
What, who?
I'm looking up her alignment real quick. Yeah, she kind of eyes you in a very strange way. Like, what do you know about Skullport? She lays down the armor on the side, and you can definitely see that there is a pretty hefty-looking longsword kind of leaned up against the desk as well. And she kind of puts her...
Claiborne's immediately going to head towards it in like awe. Like starts to pull out her greatsword for like comparison and her longsword.
Well, your greatsword's definitely bigger, but this one seems to, I mean, it is a longsword, it's one-handed, but this one seems heavier than most. As you can definitely tell from her biceps, she's a strong lady.
Claiborne is immediately impressed and would like to talk shop with the city.
Yeah, she puts down her armor and kind of leans back in the stiff wooden chair with her arm out. "So what can I do for you?"
Well, we were told to come talk to you about getting entrance into the city. We have very important business.
Everyone has business these days. Tell me, are you part of the refugee caravans coming through here?
We arrived with the caravan.
Yeah.
We ourselves are not refugees.
Thought so. But you're wanting entry for your refugees, I'm assuming. I see you're all armed. I'm assuming you're guards.
Former mercenary.
Yeah, close enough. Well, the Flaming Fist is stretched a little thin. I just can't abide having anyone come into the city. There's a few disqualifications that you'll need to be precluded from before I can gain any entry for your group. And she goes behind the desk and pulls out what looks like a wooden clipboard, if there was such a thing in Faerun, and just lays down a piece of paper that has a list of, and you might have to write this down yourselves because there's no handout for it. There's a list of things that are required with proof before anyone is allowed into the city at the moment. And as you look them over, she kind of offhandedly says, "We've had many difficulties keeping order in the city, and I seem to be one of the last of the Flaming Fists taking it any seriously. Last thing we need is more troublemakers coming in." The first item is a full accounting of each refugee with their name, occupation, age, and criminal record. Carts and pack animals are not permitted within the city. Everyone must enter on foot without them.
What about cats?
She looks at you and is like, "There's a law in Baldur's Gate that as long as it's smaller than a peacock, it's allowed in."
Okay.
And you did notice, walking through the outer city, there were these caws that you weren't quite sure what they were. Maybe it was a dust hawk, the endangered bird that makes its home in the Dust Hawk Mountain. But no, there's a thriving peacock industry in the outer city trying to get them as big as possible so that you can buy them and prove that you're legally allowed to have that animal in the city. All right, so confirmation from a cleric or healer that resides within Baldur's Gate, confirming that each refugee is free of any disease. The next one is arrangements must be made with an inn, a temple, or a relative that they are willing to house the refugees. And the last, the refugees must have some arrangement to do work for the benefit of the city.
We'll be able to be inside the city to see what these are done, correct?
She looks at you. This is as far as you're going to get without proof.
How then could we get an innkeeper inside to agree to take out refugees and ourselves? We cannot enter the city ourselves.
She kind of waves her hand in the air. That's not my problem.
You're as helpful as you are beautiful.
And you see whenever she said that, she had still like a disdain on her face. Like she also dislikes the bureaucracy. But this is how it is. But if you can find enough proof, we will allow you entry in the morning. I will await your re-entry.
Anyone that forges documents.
Did you say that out loud?
Says it with a look on his face that says he has a strange sense of humor. It's a problem.
Okay, so I'm going to have her roll insight. One second. I'm going to see if she understands that's a joke or not. Okay, so it's just wisdom. All right, you got lucky. She kind of looks at you with like a unamused frown. I would not recommend consorting with those in the outer city. You're more likely to be stabbed than helped. If you show them any coin at all, you'll lose it.
You don't want to end up like the pile of snuffers.
She kind of nods like, yeah, you're right.
Write it down fast.
That was
Have
just
advice.
reading that most of our 18 other members are sick, old, or very young.
Well, my advice is to go and do as much as you can in the time you have. She kind of looks. It's in the early afternoon of this day as you arrive, so the sun's already beginning to set. And she picks up a quill pen and starts going for one of her documents. That will be all.
Turn around and start to walk out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly, ma'am.
You see her shoot a final glance at you as you leave the room, just sizing up your equipment and your gear.
I like massage the pommel a little bit, not in a sexual way, just
No, I get it.
all about the weapons with us.
All right, so as you leave the office, you are simply pointed back towards the gate as the Flaming Fist are all over this area. And going to talk to Flame Darin is a none too uncommon occurrence, so they're used to pointing people back outside. And as you come out there, you see Dara with Goran and Clyde standing there off to the side as they see you. See her face kind of lights up with hope.
Kind of muffled, so I'm supposed to see, will that code be?
We just need to find a big teacup.
Playboard will nod, smile, pretending she understands. She's actually okay on intelligence.
So, Dara is there later. Perhaps we could.
She's been raised.
Yeah, she's 10 years old.
She probably has some sort of connection.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good start for trying to get housing. She can
One.
get the order.
And Vasha, let's see, he ran an inn. Start with Dora, I guess.
Yeah, they all have.
They all have a trade, whether they're able to do it.
As you come out there and eventually meet up with Dara, she's going to hopefully ask you, how'd it go?
Well, we just have a short list of requirements for every person at refugee caravan that they have to pass before they can be let in.
You see her hope kind of fall a bit. Oh, can I see the list?
I will hand her the list.
Yeah, she looks at the first one. Oh, that's easily done. I know everybody here. I can make that list. I
What
know.
a smart child you are.
Playboard will just pat her on the head.
As she's looking at that, Vasha comes up behind her and takes it from her. She sees just an immediate pout of a child not getting the rest of what she wanted. As Vasha looks over.
I'm going to pull out my cat bear from my backpack, I guess, where I keep my cat bear. It's blood drinker the bear. It doesn't do anything but be a cat bear, bear cat, if you will, and try to make Dara smile again.
Oh yeah.
A creature or a stuffed animal?
It's a creature.
It's a bear the size of a house cat.
It was cursed with like a shrinking spell.
Oh, this is blood drinker? Nice.
Yeah, blood drinker, yeah.
All right. Yeah, you bring out the small little cat bear, and she immediately lights up, but is also nervous that this thing might actually bite her since it looks like a bear. And you just see
It's going to be like, you just got to scritch him underneath his chin, and then he'll start purring. Because he's a cat bear. That's his name, cat bear.
Clyde the goat just immediately makes this gurgling, grunting noise of displeasure.
I will then pull out my second cat. Cloud, who is equal, like 17 years old, for the goats abuse. Cloud is also gray.
Or infested with small creatures.
You
We
see,
should see that. We should see to that when we get into the city.
you see Goran, the old man, kind of be like, "Oh, let me see how many this is. Look, it's your same color, Clyde." And the goat just starts backing up, just not liking it. And Goran just keeps like trying to walk up to him with it. They just start doing it in circles.
That Cloud didn't wake up at all. They just very old.
Yeah, all three of them, very old. Vasha, looking at the list, she goes down to the one toward the bottom that says that they have to have employment. And you see her face just immediately go to despair. How in the world are we ever going to find employment for 14 individual people? And she like looks at the sky. In what, 5 hours? This is impossible.
Do any of y'all have family in this esteemed peacock-infested city? Yeah.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh, awesome. Oh wait, I'm proficient in persuasion. Be it.
An 8. Looking around, everyone just kind of shakes their head. No. Almost everyone here is either from El Torel or was simply passing through El Torel. None of these people came from Baldur's Gate.
I have a feeling they do not actually need employment, just someone to say that they have employment.
See, Vasha, who you've come to learn is a very lawful person, just kind of look at you. That's the same thing to me.
Excellent. You are of a clerical order of some description. Do you know of any in the city that we might contact that could vouch for you and our friends? I use the term friends very loosely.
Are you referring to Dara?
Yeah, the little girl.
The little girl. She kind of looks up at you. No, my family and my priest were from
Immediately starts talking to somebody else.
like doesn't get the full sentence out before you turn.
Claiborne's there with the bear, like, "You there, little girl."
She just put a hand on Vasha's shoulder. It's okay, Vasha. This suffering will just help us, make us stronger. You know.
I feel like this town is under coronavirus.
It's actually pretty. Yeah, I mean they're not they're not social distancing, but they're not allowing almost anybody in. You see, after a moment, Vasha kind of perks her face up. I don't know. Is it possible that we could maybe pool our money and pay our way past?
There are always those who are weak.
The red-haired flame lady with the giant awesome sword said to be careful about showing our worth around here. We don't want to end up like snuffers. I'm willing to contribute if I think it's a good idea.
You see her kind of sag her shoulders as she's out of ideas. I'll leave it up to you. You've led us this far.
As we've been walking around in this area, have we like seen any like cleric type people? Other than Dara?
Give me a perception check. A 6?
I'm really focused on
Yeah, as you look around, you can see that there are quite a few people here that are like dead, exhausted from the road. Some of them in these old shanty tents off to the side. Some of them sick, but you do not see anyone tending to them. This place seems desperate and destitute.
And full of coronavirus. One of our companions is a herbalist.
Well, I'm wondering if we can find some kind of cleric, since everyone has to be medically cleared. Maybe if we like really push Dara onto them, maybe they can become clerical besties and then take all of the refugees.
Has anyone checked on him? Like, just carrying him around this whole time in a cart?
He is still unconscious.
Okay.
Or we could get birdie.
Yeah, he's breathing normally.
Okay, so it's not like...
It's only been 2 days, and you've been able to get him to drink water at least while he's been unconscious. He hasn't eaten anything, but
probably because of the healing potion that I applied as an enema.
okay. Well, you as tier 1, you do also get inspiration and healing potion, by the way. So I will say, because it's roll 20 and it auto rolls advantage, you're going to have to say you use inspiration before the roll is made.
Are you gonna apply a healing potion to him?
Sure, because I have...
Well, don't do that. If we want to, because I have a little bit of healing I could potentially. Would that work, Kevin? Does he just seem to like a decent? Because I have good berry, so I could literally just cast good berry and shove a good berry down his throat.
He physically can't eat it, and so he can't benefit from it. Like nobody who knows anything about medicine is going to say shove food down an unconscious man's throat.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you an in-game reason why it wouldn't work.
Sure, no, that's fine.
To your real question, yes, the module says that will not work.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
He just needs to sleep at all. He'll be fine. I can't tell you how many animals I've been kicking in the back.
Yeah. So
Where do you apply? My intelligence is average, sir.
The crowd at the gate has kind of resurged, and y'all have been forced to move off to the side at minimum.
Listen, why don't you ask your friends if they know of any healers?
Okay. I guess I'll go back or try to find some.
The 2 that you had charmed?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're there.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long does it last?
It lasts 1 hour.
1 hour? Yeah, you definitely have, yeah, they're totally still charmed. They see you through the crowd, and they kind of wave at you as they kind of push everyone else they were talking to off to the side. And you see like one guy sort of get indignant about it. It's like, hey, you can't. And then he just turns and just smacks him right in the in the mouth with a full gauntleted fist. And the guy just hits the ground, like teeth clattering out on the ground. And you see the guy who you charmed saying like, I pushed you back for a reason, sir.
Now, no need to be all impolite like that.
You see the rest of the fist just sort of get like woke up a bit, like, oh yeah, are we about to start fighting? Like, what's going on here?
So I just had a couple of questions, and I thought that, you guys being just so familiar with the city, you might be able to answer some.
What do you need?
So, do you know where we might be able to find a healer outside of the city? Or maybe anyone looking for dedicated, awesome employees?
He thinks for a moment, kind of rubs the stubble on his chin. I know of a healer that's out in the outer city, Tile. You can find him easily enough. He gives you basic directions on where he last knew he was operating. As far as employment, unless you know someone in the city, you know one proprietor, possibly have family, no, it's hard enough to find work. He kind of
Okay.
he kind of looks behind himself at the gate at the inside of the city and turns back to you, and you can see the look of someone who wants to help a friend but really can't. It's like, I know that the rules are strict, but I think they're really only meant to keep you out, not to give you a way in.
Okay.
Are there alternative means of getting in? Because this guy over here was talking about that.
You see the pride of the flaming fist, which is basically not much, but still there. As he kind of like riles up, I'm not sure what you're insinuating.
Well, I'm not sure either. It's just what this guy was talking about in front of your leader.
What this guy are you referring to?
Was that you, Jeremy?
Yeah.
He doesn't follow your lead. He doesn't quite understand what you're asking. Listen, the only way through the gate is with the flaming fists say so.
That's what I thought. It seems to be very much about law and order.
Yeah, he points down to the man who's picking himself up off the ground, kind of holding his mouth. That right there is what I call law and order.
Very impressive.
I just nod.
We're all law-abiding citizens here. We would never dream of doing anything against the might of the flaming fist. It's flaming fist, right?
Flaming fist, yes. The fists that are flaming.
All right. Well, are you guys hiring? We heard you're stretched thin.
It takes a long time of training to get into the Flaming Fists. We are always hiring, especially in times of need, but you're going to have to take at least, 2 months of training before you even go shipped off.
How many 10-year-old girls in your ranks?
You see, he has no idea how to respond to that. So, no, we do not have 10-year-old girls in our ranks. And then his friend kind of...
Helpful. Thank you so much. I guess we'll go find that healer. Unless anyone else has questions.
What can you tell me about the peacocks? I'm totally kidding. You can go. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, he'll wave you on as you leave the gate itself. It's very easy to find Till. He is a high elf that is probably the only healer that is out in the outer city. Easy to find because he has a very long line to see him. He is a very short and to the point conversationalist. He simply says it is 1 silver per person for a clean bill of health. And he is legitimate about his job, but he knows that the Flaming Fist are inordinately obstinate about who they let in. And so he helps people with the illnesses they have, but also gives them a clean bill of health no matter what they have. Just, I would say just above board, just with standard payment, he will do that. Like whenever he has the time, he will come to the group and get that done for you by the end of the day.
Is there any way to help him? We're not even able to get up there and talk to him.
You can go talk to him, yeah. It's just the people waiting to be seen by him.
just. It's gonna do.
So he's going to be able to give a clean bill of health to our unconscious friend.
Yeah.
He's just sleeping.
He'll treat the contusion that's on his head from the horse kick, but he will definitely give you a written notice that says he is fit.
Okay.
Well, Claiborne is willing to pay for all the refugees. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure too.
I will. I'm a fighter. So,
Yes. I spent a lot of gold to get rid of the curse, so.
uh,
But you said it's only 1 silver per refugee, right?
Yeah, per head, basically, that needs the written.
Oh, that's not much.
yeah,
That's like 2 gold.
Claiborne will pay for it all. I'll just take off 3 gold.
I can use my disguise kit.
To make the goat look like a peacock, please.
Yes.
So getting from the gate to Till and then getting his assistance, that took about an hour.
How many hours do we have left?
Probably 4 until it's complete darkness. And
It's tomorrow morning that we have to have all the stuff.
absolutely.
But we'll have all the names and everything, have some bill of health. Just the hard stuff left.
Yeah.
And you would also know, just from the conversations amongst the other refugees that are also attempting to get in, who have been here for longer than you have, Baldur's Gate locks all their doors and all their gates at sundown.
Are there any shops, any sort of retail outside where we are?
There is. It is sparse, and it's very Ren Fair. People calling out for their wares, and most of it is exotic. There's a lot of stuff here from Cholt. There's Amnian things here. There's Luskin. There's a whole bunch of things that are not local, especially on the outskirts. And you did, as you came through and around Duskhawk Hill, you went through Little Kalimshan, which had kind of a Arab flair to it.
I have a feeling. I believe if we find some sort of retail, we can pay this person to give us notes, say that we are all porters for them, and you pay us 5 silver a day, presuming we do not actually intend to work. Maybe the ghost can work, I don't know.
I mean, it can carry a lot more than I can.
Probably. That does not surprise me. But I don't feel like we need to actually show up for work. And they're not. She clearly did not care about the rules, just to circumvent them.
Just need papers. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Let's head there, try and find, maybe just to keep it a little more realistic, maybe find someone that has a relatively large stall that might sell something that people inside the city would need, like maybe a butcher or a fishmonger or something along those lines.
Okay. Does anyone have any background that might help in this?
I mean, I would look for a dwarf that was running one. Perhaps a craftsman of some description, since I'm also
correct.
A craftsman.
Okay, yeah. There are dwarves. They're kind of on the southern side of the outer city, near the mountain. And you can find that there is a lucrative trade here on Luskan silver, the mined variety, not the minted coin. And you can definitely, especially from your background, because I know what it is, they are more than happy to take you in and listen to what you have to offer.
As the rest of the party, do any of you speak Dwarvish?
No.
No.
Excellent. Okay, so we're inside.
Well, you managed to find the dwarves, and they're able to. They're willing to talk to you.
Okay.
So, what do you offer, basically?
I'll transact entirely in Dwarvish, and basically say, we need their papers that say that they will act as porters. They will not show up. They will not port things. It's for all of these useless people and myself. I give you 3 gold. You give us the papers, you'll never see us again.
You see the first man you're talking to kind of think about it for a moment as he's talking to you, and he's like, "Of course, that sounds like a fantastic deal." And he starts putting his hand out, and there's like another dwarf that kind of muscles in from the side. He's like, "I'll do it for 2.5."
I will deal with the men that I dealt with.
You see the original one kind of elbow the other one back away from him. It's like, yeah, stay your place.
Of course, I will make sure that my useless compatriots here, they will keep your name on their lips. If anyone asks them if they have jobs, they will tell them, "Yes, I am human. I take silver and carry it for my master." That whole thing.
He does give you a name of one of their distributors inside the city, so that you could also reference them. Anyone that they deal with outside, their porters go directly to the distributor, and so that would do the "I work for somebody in the city."
So you've been very helpful, and your silver gleams like the holes of the mountain.
Oh yeah, you are Zentarum. Okay.
He didn't actually spend a lot of time there, so he's kind of making that part of it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'll hand over the 3 gold. I'll subtract it.
Okay. Sean, were you wanting to leverage your Zentarum connection some way? If you are talking, I cannot hear you.
I am muted.
It happens.
Right. Yeah, I was going to try to see if I could maybe catch glimpses of others. I'm sure.
I also would be on the lookout for any mercenaries. Apparently I can see them.
Oh, really? Is that like a background thing?
Yeah, it's mercenary.
Oh, interesting. There are plenty of mercenaries around this place. Also, once you begin looking, Sean, you see many evidence of thieves' cant around this place. It is trivial for you to track down another Zentarum. Yeah, the best that you find is a somewhat cleanly dressed for this part of the city drow that has his hood thrown up and his face kind of somewhat obscured by a hanging piece of cloth, not a full mask. But you do find him down an alley that immediately you recognize each other as Zentarum. He kind of, as you walk up to him, you can see that he has a bandolier of knives just across his chest.
Why are you going to talk to that elf wearing a veil? Interesting to slit your
Yeah,
I kind of feel like her mercenary background, she would know this part.
yeah, as you get up to him, he just kind of leans back against the stone wall. What do you need? There's only one way in, and that's through the Flaming Fists. You have to meet their list of demands. Which one do you need?
I thought we solved.
Technically don't know that yet.
Okay, yeah.
I don't speak Polish.
That's true.
He
Neither do I.
he goes into his back pocket and pulls out parchments. He kind of flips them open and starts rifling through them. And as you kind of look over his shoulder, you can see that there are multiple forged documents of different, working from different places, living in different locations, and all of them have other people's names, and some of them have specks of blood on them.
Looks like my boots.
I think I have what you need. He is willing to get one. So for one bullet point, he can provide documentation for the entire group. It's 5 gold for each bullet point. All right.
I'll head back and try to rally them. We can get housing for
And for all of the refugees. Well, that sounds like a great deal.
Take it for housing, and then I'll produce the documents and hand them to who did you say became the leader?
Vasha Hall.
Vasha. Yeah. I'll say, Yasha, this is for you. This takes care of everybody.
You see the hope begin coming back to her face as she's amazed at your efficiency.
You're welcome in advance.
slight stuff with
I have a little bit of gold.
How much do you need, little one? Can I insight check?
If you believe he might be lying.
Yeah, because I didn't go down the hallway with him.
Yeah.
And it should be.
I mean, if you can't trust your sword brothers, who can you trust?
Jackson.
That's fine. Yeah, he seems up and up.
Yeah, to our friend.
If you're a little bit short, I can give the money.
Oh, you were not insulting his very small stature.
I mean, I think he's taller than I am.
Oh, 2, I think?
Yeah, I'm a gnome.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Pretty sure.
Actually taller than me.
Okay. Alright, I thought I was on meeting with me. Well, this is also, yeah. Sure. Okay, I will take whoever's doing gold because I only have 5 silver.
Here's 5 gold.
And I'll walk back down the alley.
Okay. He is more than happy to make the transaction.
Hand over the gold, very trusting.
You can see his bright red pupils kind of light up as he hands them off. Looks like I'll have to get more paperwork. He kind of waves his hand off. I need people with jobs and homes. Yeah, he turns and quickly walks down the gray water alley, splashing and turning into a side one.
Jackson. Jack's just came right here. Jumped in my wife's chair. And the big spun almost.
Nice. All right. Does that fulfill all of your little bullet points?
Yeah, we're just waiting on the healer.
Oh yeah, and he will come do what he said he would do. You'll have that by the end of the day. As far as the carts and pack animals not being permitted from the city, there are quite a bit of horses, some pigs, also the goat, that while the refugees are unhappy that they have to give them up, there are people who are willing to buy them from them. You see Goran, the old man, kind of lean down to his equally decrepit Clyde the goat and give a heartfelt farewell as he is sold off.
Well, yeah. Now continue on. I'm going to check in my spells to see if I can cast as a ritual. But continue, just for...
I keep wishing that I'd changed to invisibility. I probably would have used visibility on the goat.
That would be the best reason and only reason why you would take that spell. I mean, because when you're making your character on like D&D Beyond, you're like, I need this because of goats.
Well, now I will remember.
Invisible goats.
Yep. Okay, so there is nothing to do tonight. You can't get your audience with Flame Darin until the morning. So you're going to simply find a place to stay in the outer city. It's not comfortable. It's not clean. Definitely not safe. But all of you managed to find a small piece of the outer city to call this night home. So you all get a long rest for what that matters, if you spent anything. And in the morning, you wake up bright and early, and it is a foggy morning. Baldur's Gate, by far, is usually laden under heavy fog. When you came in the afternoon, it was pretty clear, but now when you wake up in the morning, this seems to be a standard day in the City of Blood. Very heavy, thick fog kind of masks the way, and as you come up to the Basilisk Gate, you see there's different guards there on their station. You come up to them and say you're expecting an audience with Flame Darin, and they quickly usher you along the way. Yeah, I'm assuming you have all your paperwork? Okay. Lead you into the same office up at the top of Basilisk Gate. And when you arrive, you can see she is in her full regalia, her full armor, her long sword strapped to her side, and as with her gauntleted hands, she's perusing a mound of paperwork next to her on the side. She looks up and sees you come in, and you can see almost a slight relief across her shoulders as they untense. And as you come in, what would you like to do?
Claiborne will start complimenting her armor as you're doing that.
As requested, we have all of the documentation, and I'll put them on the desk.
She quickly whisks it up off the desk and just kind of pushes it, tosses it off to the side on top of a larger stack. Good.
Do I notice her seeming tense?
Oh yeah, it's obvious to everybody. She kind of puts her hands on the desk as she leans on it and kind of stabs down with a metal finger onto one particular oil-stained page. I have a problem.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay, but thank you for asking. As you know, this is a trying time for the Flaming Fist, and there was a murder last night, which is not uncommon. However, the victim had a letter addressed to someone.
I give the little fire gnome guy a side eye, like a glare. Your tall friend with the red eyes might have.
It says a name, seems suspicious to me. And she looks over to the documents you gave her, And you see her nod her hand like, yep, that's what I thought. And she kind of straightens up. It was addressed to Sigrun Hall. I assumed as much. I can see you. She kind of looks through the window, like down. You can see that she has a full view of the front of the gate.
Sleeping. He's sleeping. He's very tired. He's very tired tonight.
He's narcoleptic.
He's up all night. He was having sex with his wife.
She kind of looks between all of you. He's unconscious or he is sleeping, because there's an important difference at this particular moment. If he is,
He has a condition where he just randomly goes to sleep like that, but otherwise he's a great work.
I'm going to have her roll an insight check. Hey, all right. You can see her face harden as she kind of grips her hands harder. I'm going to have to see Sigrun myself. I demand you bring me to him. All right.
Are you suspecting him of murder?
Considering this is the only connection I have, it's something I would like to rule out.
I think you'll be able to pull it out.
So you say, but you're not making a lot of sense to me. I want to see him
You
myself.
are lying because we thought that we need to clean bill of health. Man was kicked in the head by horse and is unconscious. He's also very heavy.
Well, you should have led with that. Now we're to...
You know, this is the bureaucracies. It makes us all crazy.
Well, now we're to this. Guards! She just calls in 2 others to escort you. We're going to see him myself.
Oh, excellent. You see sleeping man. This is great use of time.
She takes the note, which none of y'all have tried to read, and folds it and puts it in her breast pocket under her breastplate, and will follow all of you out as you go back to the caravan. As you come there, all of you can obviously show Sigrun, who is currently still unconscious.
Pick up his arm and let it drop.
Yeah,
He's very unconscious. So to poke him, I rub his chest very hard.
yeah, she leans over and just grabs his cheek with her hands and just kind of moves his head back and forth gently. Not.
With him, make sure.
She kind of. Well, at least it wasn't him. Listen. Oh yeah, she is totally there. She is very nervous. Vachahal standing off to the side watching this like 3 group of the Flaming Fist come out. One of them in a breastplate and a much grander sword than the rest of them. Something she thought would just be a very simple, here's your documents. And as you all come out there, she kind of is like, oh shit, I hope those documents are real. As she comes out there and she sees Sigrun is unconscious, she kind of thinks for a moment.
What are your second options? Now I'm starting to talk like a combination of Nissa and the dwarf.
Well, considering that you tried to lie to me once, I won't take a closer look into the documents you gave me. Instead, we can make a deal. The Flaming Fist is stretched too thin to investigate this. But all of you seem capable enough. I'll give only you access into the city. Find this murderer for me and bring me him alive. It's clear that this victim had some connection to El Terrell, considering that he wrote a letter to people coming from there. Perhaps this murderer is the only one who knows what happened to the city itself. I smell something more than just coincidence here. You can make it up to me with results.
If we do this for you,
Your entire caravan will have access to the city. I guarantee it.
Excellent. I have also thing that I would like addition to access. It is very small.
Such as?
There is a man, he has a goat. He sold the goat last night. I want you to buy this man's goat back, let the goat into the city.
She kind of buy it. We'll just take it.
Whatever. Obtain the fucking goat.
Yeah, Flaming Fist doesn't buy anything from the outer city, my friend. I can see what I can do about the paperwork for your animal. You see, yeah,
I agree.
Goran, the old man's kind of like, oh, bless you, dwarf.
What is only one of you that I like?
She pulls out the oil-stained letter and pushes it out towards you to hand it to you. And I'm going to now share that. It should show up in your journals.
And was it Marcus that was killed?
You see Flamedarin nod. Yes, his name was Marcus.
Why are you concerned about men who want to be shepherds?
I told you, he tried to reach out to an Eltorian. If that leads to some more information about what happened to the city and why these refugees are pouring through my gate, it's good enough for me.
So it seems to be trying to make safety themselves.
She throws up her hands. That is your job. The Flaming Fist is stretched too thin for this, and I have other things to attend to. So, you will have my blessing through. The Flaming Fist will know your names and faces.
Where did you find this letter?
On his body.
Where did you find his body?
She pulls out a simple map of the lower city and also hands it to you.
Where you found this map?
She kind of, like, staccato, the cartographer. Anyways, I'm done here. Come to me when you have something for me. She turns on her heel and just walks with her two guards with her.
I'm going to turn to Vasha and ask, did his grandfather have a farm?
Vasha, do you let her read the letter?
What?
Do you let her read the letter as well, or do you just...
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, as she reads the letter and you see a concern cross her face. Yes, he did. I personally didn't know Marcus Hallgate, but I know their family. They once resided in Elturel with us. They were actually related to us. Their last name was the Halls, but then they all moved to Baldur's Gate some 30 years ago. They added Gate to their last name, following the tradition of others that come wishing to leave their roots behind. But they've been largely forgotten in Elturel, so I know very little about them. Well, the only reason I've heard of them was because Segrin once talked and took us to their old farmstead, mentioned their departure from Eltergard itself. She kind of looks at her husband and kind of lays a loving hand on his shoulder. he would probably be able to tell you much more.
I say since we're
Yes.
Okay.
On the map, where does it say that this body was located?
Looking at the map, it is not too far terribly away. I'm actually going to switch maps on you. So you are currently at Basilisk Gate, which I understand that is misspelled. I realized that after, and I didn't have time to fix it. On the right side. Yeah, coming through the outer city. And you're stopped currently at Basilisk Gate. The entire lower city is a horseshoe shaped around the harbor. And it is in like multiple layers, like an amphitheater, like multiple horseshoes stacked on top of each other. The actual, let me draw a shape. The map leads you, oh, what is that? Oh no. That's not the shape I wanted. Oh, it's Alt. That's what it is. Why is it stuck on, oh, that's why. Okay, there we go. Why do you do this to me, game? I just changed.
At least it's not like Sean and our last experience where there were just penises all over the screen. So.
Hold on, I'm gonna do this. There we go. It's about halfway through the lower city, near the southern side.
I've got small legs. Let's check out this river and then head over there.
Did you say that the body was here? You know, we could look at it, or that it was still located there?
Oh no, it's still there.
Okay, that seems like I would have insulted her leadership.
The Flaming Fists don't have staff to spare.
Maybe they don't have enough chalk to make an outline.
All right, so let's think about this. Do you think that there's more Flaming Fists than bodies on a given night?
I definitely think there's. We saw the pile of like 9 naked people in the alley, and no one gave a shit. I kind of feel like there's a lot of bodies.
The only reason why this,
Really get some spiders to eat those.
yeah, oh my god. The only reason why this one's important is because of the letter. That's why they want she wants to investigate it because of that only, and you're the only people she has to spare at this exact moment.
It's the body.
Okay. As you come to the Basilisk Gate, they let you through as Flamedarn has told you that you're allowed in. And as you come through, you begin walking through the lower city. The lower city is a bustle of people of all walks of life. These people are not destitute. They have homes and businesses and are generally on their daily routine. There's a lot of porters running through the city, and it is foggy and a little humid. As you walk through, you can see this is still early morning. The lamplighter crew, the cadre of young urchins that kind of run the streets, they have lanterns on small pikes that have green glass on them. So they walk around the city throwing these little green motes of light through the fog as people toss them a few coppers to have them follow them, just to give them a little bit more visual as they go through. And as you walk, everything here is very busy. You're kind of crowded on all sides by people pushing through, the shouts of people trying to get their wares sold, other people shouting to leave them alone, and other things like that. And who has the highest passive perception?
I'm pretty sure it's,
All right, we have a 10,
yeah, I'm a straight up 10.
an 11, a 15, which isn't bad, a 12, and a 13. All right, I need to actually pick the worst one. 1 second. Oh God, they're so good. So this happens suddenly. As you are walking through this busy street, There are no flaming fist or guards around, as they are stretched thin as it is. You hear a voice kind of call out across the street. Then it sounds high, and everyone kind of shoots their heads up, and you see a figure standing and sort of in a half crouch on one knee on one of the eaves of a building. He is wearing red robes, dyed very dark. His hood is thrown back. He has a completely bald-shaped head, and you can see a black tattoo of a hand just across his face down into his neck. And his voice rings out, "And so the true believers of the Dead Three will rise again and prove the Flaming Fist cannot control this city." And people all around you just start drawing knives. We are going to roll initiative. Don't forget to highlight your token. That's fine. I can fix it this time as we go through.
Where are our tokens?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're on them. You're on the wrong map. Ha ha ha. I moved Belver. I did not move you. So we're gonna stop the happy music.
Bring some scary music.
More appropriate music. It would add your turn. I'm getting things squared away at the moment while you add yourselves. I'm getting used to moving around Roll20 a little differently because I use the pre-constructed module. And they do things a little differently, so I'm trying to not close these windows that I desperately need open at all times.
I'm still trying to close my windows from working today and making 5 billion recordings.
All right. Yeah, this is a good time to take a very short few minute break while I get everything set up. How did my thing not? Oh, come on. I'm gonna get used to this. I'm gonna have to get used to this. 7. There we go. Man, everyone rolled so high. Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. Is anyone still gone? It's probably a question that no one can answer.
Yeah, my wife has some friends over, so I just went to peek out and say hi to them.
Okay. I think we're just waiting for Jeremy then. Okay. Then I'm going to switch maps.
Okay.
All right, so you have to roll initiative again.
Well, I think when you change between maps, the turn order stays with map.
No, it's
So
there.
we rolled initiative on the. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine doesn't check.
Yeah,
This is it still off?
Yeah, I see. I have the guy and the spike.
All right, so let us clear this. I did not realize it saved it by that, and let me add you to the turn. Are y'all showing up now? All right, so just you can edit your numbers by clicking the 0 and adding the number you're supposed to have. Oh, no, that's fine. Did it not add his turn? There you go, add his turn. And Michelle got a 17.
Yeah.
And you got a 16. Very cool. All right, descending. Unfortunately, no one's passive is high enough to not be surprised by this. And so everyone is going to be surprised. Kazdak, it's your turn. You are no longer surprised. Grant Yorling, the hooded, balded man on the roof, rises up. And as he throws his hand out, you see a spectral weapon begin to form in the air. Probably here. Here. And the weapon takes the form of a mace that has a fist on the end of it. And he is going to make an attack. Oh, come on. Window? Attack against you, David. We're going to chill out that music for a bit.
What are all the white? Those just random.
Those are commoners that are just passing by, which means they are collateral damage. An 11 will probably miss you, David. Oh, I'm sorry.
Meats.
Oh, it meets? Oh, no.
Oh.
All right. 6 force damage. And then Grant is going to pull a dagger from his side and balance it on the end of his finger as he looks at a target that he wants to aim at. And this is going to be a random, which I actually have to roll because he does not care who he hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be Alyssa. I really wish it went and did that freaking token thing when I click that. All right, I'm still getting used to the way they're doing stuff. He's going to pick the dagger in his fingers and try to throw it straight at you. A 23 to hit. I'm sure that hits.
Sorry, did you say? I thought I heard Alyssa. Did you mean Nissa?
Nissa. Yeah, I'm sorry, you're behind token there.
Okay. Yeah, that hits.
All right, Grant is going to use his 1-a-day ability called Ferocious Surge to turn this into a critical.
Okay.
So it is 5 piercing plus, I don't know why they're making me do this by hand, plus an additional 3. So 7 total. Or 8, sorry. All right, and that's his turn as he calls for his faithful to follow suit. Surprise, no longer. Surprise, no longer. Surprise, no longer. Surprise, no longer. On the cultist's turn, they're going to pull scimitars, not daggers. I'm sorry. Full scimitars out from under their clothing and strike down. Really want this to be a smaller window. All right. The first strike is going to be on Kazdak. A 16 to hit for 3 slashing damage. The second one on David is going to be a 16 to hit for 5 slashing. These guys are rolling really good right now. And whenever you highlight your token, you can just minus your health from the token itself. This.
Oh, I'm muted. I've been trying to talk. The one that hit me, I cast Hellish Rebuke on.
Okay, this one here.
Yep.
All right. That is a dex save.
Dex DC 13 with failure modifier.
Yeah, you totally failed. He takes 5. You see your hellish flames just reach up and just incinerate his clothing, just starts screaming in pain as he tries to back away.
Do you remember how much damage that was? I took?
Yours was the last one I just did. I think you already minused it. Oh, Sean. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you took 3 slashing. Yeah, just 3. The other 2, this one here is going to attack Claiborne. Ha! Totally missing you. As his scimitars clang into the cobblestone, throwing shrapnel rock. This one's going to move up here, but it's still going to turn and swing at you, Claiborne, as you hear the other cultist curse. That is a critical strike for a total of 8 slashing damage. Hey, good turns, cultists. Top of the round, however, Kazdak, you've found your footing.
Okay. So I guess it's probably a target.
No, you can just say you do it. You don't have to do anything special in the game.
Okay. The one that hit me. Swoop at him.
I actually minus the wrong. What was it? That's -5 there. Okay. Is that the DC? Or that's to hit. That just misses. Yeah. It streaks past him and just barely misses the person right behind him as it slams into the woodwork of a building. And you see that commoner just fall to his butt and begins backpedaling backwards as everyone starts realizing now that actual fighting is occurring. And you want to stay where you are?
Yeah, I don't want to risk a
All right. Grant is going to use his bonus action to spiritually strike you, Sean. And now it's sitting there. Oh, yes, there we go. He's going to miss with it completely. He's going to then hold up his hand as who is the only one that's been missed is Claiborne. He holds up his hands again, and you see him kind of clap.
I just took 8 points of damage.
Well, the crit has to hit. But you do look the beefiest with a greatsword that's coming out of its scabbard.
Gotcha.
He holds up his hands and claps them together as you feel your mind begin to slip. Give me a wisdom saving throw. Oh, you defend it handedly. You hear him just curse up there. Ah, Bane will take you. He cast Hold Person, and it failed. Nissa.
Okay, so I am going to use one of my bardic inspiration to power my mantle of inspiration, granting 5 temporary hit points to myself. And is it Jimmy that's super hurt?
Yeah, Jimmy's down to 3
Okay.
bananas.
So that's, let's see, mantle of inspiration. Each of us can immediately use our reactions to move up our speed without provoking opportunity.
Wow. Cool.
So I am going to move. If I can move past that guy, I just want to get into like this area here.
Yeah,
In the,
yeah.
not on the roof, but in the alleyway.
Yeah, so this square is squeezing, and in the alleyway is squeezing.
Okay. That would be.
It's basically just all difficult terrain because it's so close to the building.
Okay. I think I can get there.
Okay. Does anyone else want to use their reaction to move?
No.
All right. Well, you have an 5 temporary hit points. And then.
And yeah.
I am going to. Oh wait, I could see this guy before, right?
Yes, you can see him.
I will cast Dissonant Whispers, so he will need to make a save.
All right. Is it a charm or frightened effect?
It's psychic.
It's psychic damage.
Whispering into his.
Oh, so it's just damage.
Yeah, he just has to make a
Oh.
level 1.
He rolled a 19.
Okay, he passed. I think,
So it's half damage.
half damage.
All right, 3 psychic.
On a save.
Yeah, you definitely see he puts his hands to his tattoo and he just kind of starts ripping at it. Like you just hear the scream coming from him. Didn't seem to hurt him too badly, but definitely felt it.
Okay. And that's it.
All right, Montague.
He takes his staff and slams the bottom of it onto one of the cobblestones, and the head of it seems to like turn. It's a fiddlehead fern, and it kind of grows a little bit and turns, and these spikes start kind of coming out of it. And he's going to yell, "Get the fighting or get away!" Step forward, and I'm going to attack the guy directly in front of him.
All right. Definitely hits. 8 bludgeoning. As you roundhouse on him, it just almost knocks him silly. Like, this dude barely can stand now. You see him swaying back and forth.
Position his shield between the two of them, and that will be the end of his turn.
All right, Claiborne.
Claiborne's just going to nod politely at the two next to her, and she's gonna pull out her longbow and shoot.
All right. You're at disadvantage because someone's within 5 feet of you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm not paying attention to the map at all.
I mean, you could do something else if you don't want to take it, but
No, I already
do that.
I already said it.
where is the... Okay, yeah, he's... Yeah, that one is 11.
What's that?
The 11... Oh, that's a Chaos Bolt. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was trying to. So I just noticed I put it in the entry wrong, and I was trying to figure out how to fix it.
Ah.
Because it does 2d8 plus 1d6, and it doesn't have the 1d6 in it.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, because you can only do 2.
You might have to just manually do the /R space D6 just at the end of it, just to add it on.
Yeah. Okay.
You still making your attack?
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, that math is wrong.
What?
Let me look at your sheet really quick.
Negative 20 on it.
And you clicked longbow. Dex proficient. That should be right.
It's showing a negative 20 in the math.
What the heck? But your dexterity is at +2. is your crit range 19-20.
Yeah.
That's what's doing it. It's not a -20. The crit range is just a 19.
Got it.
So now try it. I fixed it. Yeah, so with the disadvantage 7, it will miss. The arrow.
I would go ahead and do saving phase. She did not.
That's true.
So there are 5 of my allies. 13 now hit.
1, 2, 3, 4. Do you have a +5? Because there's only 4 allies near you.
Oh, okay. Well, it's any that I can see.
Yeah. You can see Nissa, but you only have 4 allies, right? So you have a +4.
Yeah. So will an 11 hit?
An 11 will not hit.
Okay.
But it definitely gets much closer as you correct your aim, and it goes right through his clothing, and you can see him just kind of like, oh shit, like back, like almost lose his footing on the roof as he realized how close he came.
Okay. Well, maybe I did my intended target me.
Oh yeah, he definitely is pissed at you now.
Okay.
Jimmy, you're up.
Okay, so I'm gonna attack this guy right in front of me.
Okay.
And this will be, I'm gonna go ahead and burn my inspiration because I can't afford for this to miss.
Okay.
Oh, it doesn't give you inspiration.
Well,
Tier 1.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, never mind.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and call that I'm burning it because I will die.
Okay. What are you doing?
Chaos Momentum.
It is a ranged attack, so you're at disadvantage at the moment. So it would make it a regular roll. Well, it doesn't matter. A 20 will most definitely hit him. Well, what kind of elemental is it?
Okay, so 4 is force.
Force damage? Oh my god. So do you remember this the scene in Watchmen? Where like Rorschach gets blown up in the snow? This dude just evaporates. And it just sprays the cobblestones out as everyone begins screaming and looks like they're just going to bolt from this area. Would you like to move?
No.
All right. The cultist's turn. This guy sitting here next to me, she goes, oh my god! But he's going to take his scimitar and try to do a swing down at Kazdak. 16 to hit for 5 slashing. This cultist here is going to try to reel back from his insane head injury and try to slam onto Montague with his scimitar. 17 to hit for 5 slashing. And this cultist here, who sees his friend get blown up from the distance, takes a step back and tries to go for Claiborne. Oh my god, another critical strike. This dude is so good. I mean, I'm going to give this guy a name. It's yeah. Cultist John Doll over here. And like as he comes through with his swing, you know, it's like a slow motion. This whole cloak goes billowing out. You can see the black hand tattoo across his chest that takes up like the majority of his torso. 12 slashing damage. Yeah, he rolled very well. Max damage on the crit. Or max damage on the critical die. And yeah, that's 1, 2, 3. That's all of them. Kazdak, you're up.
Okay.
All right, dex save for cultist. He rolls a 6, so that fails. Oh my god, I just screwed up my map. Hold on. There we go. Tree goes back. Yeah, he's totally in a fire. He takes 2 right now. All right. Also looking very rough. This magical bonfire just erupts under his feet. He begins dancing on it, trying to kick it out, not understanding how it got there. At the top of the round, is your turn. These people are going to begin to flee as they get out of the way. The cultist is going to take an opportunity attack against this villager.
Wow.
Wow. Oh. Trying to fix knife.
He is going to hit, but it's not going to do much. You see him just slash him across the back of his legs, and blood begin to pour, but he continues to run. But that uses his reaction. These are also going to attempt to flee, which uses their reaction, as it seems like they are indiscriminate in who they were here to kill. You just happen to walk right in the middle. Critical miss. So these people all run to safety. This person's going to run past, getting a opportunity, which is going to miss. And essentially everyone else is going to bolt away from this area. So this area is now completely open.
If I wanted an opportunity attack.
I'm going to say that as a hero, you cannot.
I don't.
Yeah. All right. On Grant's turn, he is going to float his little swordy thing down here with his fist spectral mace and attempt to smash Nissa. At least with his bonus action to stop. Whoops, that's the wrong one. To stop you from getting him another headache. 17 to hit.
Yeah, I think that does hit.
For 7
Oh, yeah.
7 force damage.
Mm.
And then
Thank goodness for my temporary.
noticing how close that arrow came, he is actually going to cast Shield of Faith with his. Oh shoot! Is that only a bonus? Oh, he can't. No. All right. His people are dying. That's cool. You know what? This is the reason why he came. He's going to point at his throat with two of his fingers, and you just hear his voice just grow in volume as his basically begins a church sermon on Bane. Just announcing to the avenue that this is what comes to those who put their faith in the flaming fist. And he is going to then back away and disappear over the front edge of the building.
No.
Yeah, I totally had my sheets.
Nissa.
Well, I was gonna do it to the guy that was fleeing, but since he's gone, I'm gonna turn to this cultist and go, "That cultist's on fire." This is mockery.
All right. Is that a wisdom save?
I believe.
Fails completely. 3 psychic.
Okay.
And he has disadvantage.
Don't think I have any bonus action. I want to. I'm just gonna go ahead. Whoop. That's with my map. I'm just gonna go ahead and move back.
Okay. Yeah. You can do so.
All right.
Montague.
I just wanted to do that.
Yep.
Okay, so question. He did his thing, and then he took off running.
Yeah, he went up. He went up this direction. Where is this?
Okay, is he still visible?
No, he went above, like to
He
the
went over the top of the roof and on down the other side.
yeah, over the top and down the
Okay.
other side.
Okay. I'm just slightly concerned that his mace is... But, he won't miss. I'm going to hit him with my staff again. Ducks out from behind his shield. Will 15 hit?
15 will definitely hit.
I'm sorry, I guess that would be 20. I'm not used to rolling. No.
Yeah.
20 will hit.
20 will hit.
Damage.
To the same one you hit before.
Yeah.
All right. As this is lethal damage, you just cave in the side of his face, and he hits the pavement hard.
Move around here.
All right, Claiborne, you're up. Okay. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Your greatsword just makes a whistling noise through the air, and you barely feel the resistance as this guy is just cut in two.
Nice. And yeah, that's
Jimmy.
All right. I'm gonna move over this way to block him off from getting to the people fleeing.
Okay.
And I will do Chaos Bolt for this remaining guy.
All right. $15 definitely hits, and it's more than enough to destroy him. What is this? Cold damage?
And then a D6.
Oh my God, so much.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, so yeah, your Chaos Bolt slams into him, and you just see his body freeze in place. It's frozen solid. So yeah, as the cultists are down, at the top of the round, is there anything in particular that you want to do, Kazdak? Because otherwise, okay. Yeah, because otherwise the other leader who basically began this by yelling is going to disappear into the crowds of Baldur's Gate. So yeah, as the chaos sort of comes to a close, you're left with a bunch of bodies on the ground. Everyone in the streets who ran away slowly comes back, more interested now than not. And you see like them eyeing the bodies like, are you going to pick that up?
Yeah, Jimmy just coughs up some blood real quick.
I will approach the people and say, be calm. We have been deputized by the Flaming Fist to deal with this matter.
You see all of them look at your armor, looking for some badge or something that has the Flaming Fist insignia on it, and not seeing it, they just give you rude gestures.
Background, Montague is just slamming his staff into one of their heads to crack it in.
one of the dead bodies or one of the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in very short order, like so short it feels odd. Everything kind of goes back to normal. As
Developed by the city again.
basically, and everyone just begins stepping through the blood and the bodies and just like walking around them.
Pop a top off of the healing potion.
Oh, nice.
And
+2 is 10.
Almost as good. As you're drinking your potions and the chaos sort of goes down, you see a person in armor that you have not seen yet in Baldur's Gate. Where the Flaming Fist have a very obvious like scarlet sash that they either wear around their neck or that goes like across their shoulder and hangs down. Everyone in the Flaming Fist has leather or splint or some sort of chain, something that is not very expensive. There's a man that comes walking down the alley that looks much more put together than anyone else around here, who's wearing what looks like almost half plate. And as he walks, you see something that you have not seen in the avenues of the lower city, a horse that he is pulling by the reins. And he's walking at a pretty brisk pace to catch up to you, sees you and the viscera around you and kind of lifts a gloved hand. Oh, hell, please, wait. He just seems a little out of breath after moving so quickly in such heavy armor. I am a guard of the upper city. I was sent here by Flame Deern. My name's Coral. I was supposed to escort you, and he kind of looks around the bottom. He's like, well, I'm glad this went well for you. But trust me, with me here, no one will dare lay a finger on you. Who are these people? Why did they attack you?
No.
Seems to be some kind of cultist talking a lot about Bane.
Oh, we've seen a resurgence of these people recently. I don't know why, but they're called crazy. He kind of goes over to one and pulls a part of their clothing down. And you can see in various places on their body, they all have the black fist or the black hand tattooed somewhere on their body. But he does notice as you're pulling down, especially Montague with your passive, you can see that there's other tattoos that are around the fist that seem odd. And looking at them, it's hard to make out what they are. It looks like a flaming circle that's open at the bottom, and it has what looks like a woman's like profile in the center.
I do some kind of history.
You have to give me a religion check, yes. No, I can hear. Oh, unless Michelle was talking. Yeah, Karen, you can give me a religion check to recognize the assemblage. 11, you're not quite sure. It looks culty, but you can't quite tell what this is from. It's not anything you recognize. So it's not one of like the major gods or even minor gods for that. But upon further inspection, all of them have this smaller tattoo that's suspiciously close to their Bane tattoo. Yeah, all of them have a semblance of money for their daily life. In total, you can find 30 gold and 1 healing potion.
Jimmy would request the healing potion.
Yeah.
You probably should have.
I'll toss it to him. You definitely need this.
I just down it immediately.
All right.
I'll go ahead and split the gold with everybody while we're here.
There you go.
So 6 gold each. Wait, you don't actually get the gold, right?
Not at this. Well, yeah.
You do, but you don't.
You do, but you don't. Technically, if you wanted to track it, you get it, but it counts toward your total. So technically, you could spend it, but it would take away from what you earn at the end. But yeah, as Coral finishes up, he puts a foot in a stirrup and pulls his heavy frame up into the front. And he's a handsome man, someone in his 40s. But you can definitely tell that he has not seen much real combat, as he is from the upper city. But he does kind of command a presence around him, and as he gets on his horse and begins to move it forward, the rabble of the lower streets just part like the ocean for him. And he kind of looks over his shoulders like, follow me, I know the way.
Well, Claiborne judged partially at the beginning based on the sun.
Yeah, as far as your background concerns, he is well trained, but he is untested. You can definitely tell that. His sword looks like it might be drawn just to be cleaned.
Yeah, she's still kind of judging him, but he got the crowds apart, so.
Yeah, and you can make your way to the crime scene itself. All right, let's see here. That. All right, so as you've traveled through the lower city, passing a lot of the shops here, you can definitely tell it's an eclectic mix of people's domiciles and open stores. And it seems like there's just a lot of trade. It's not a whole bunch of personal businesses here. A lot of them are warehouses that seem to be like open to the public. And as you make it your way to the alleyway that you're reaching to, you notice immediately that you're getting close because there's a crowd that is formed around the edge. And it seems that like the slow moving sea of people are kind of getting squished over as they rubberneck around this alleyway. But as the horse gets closer, Coral calls out a command and just everyone turns like, oh, I don't want to get kicked by a horse. And everyone just starts parting away from him until you see standing in front of the alleyway a very harried-looking dwarf in the same guard outfit, the same metal half plate. He's holding a mace in his hand that seems more used than others. Kind of well-loved. This dwarf is pretty old, too. Grayed beard hangs down in thick braids, and you can see him sweating heavily as he is sitting there yelling at everyone to stay back, that this is an active crime scene, and I swear to God, I'll mock you right in the mouth. And as you come up there, Coral kind of motions his head forward and kind of nods to the dwarf, who nods back, and the mounted guard turns to leave with a curt nod to you. And as you come up to him, you see the dwarf kind of throw his head back like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" As you come forward, he just kind of yells out everyone, "All right, get moving. We have flaming fists here to figure out what's going on. There's no reason to stay." And everyone just, a collective grumble from the crowd as they continue on their way, and all of you come up. And as you get closer, he gruffly looks at the group. "So is this it? This is what they're sending?"
That's all they need to send.
They're getting desperate.
They weren't costs, but like not in a making it very obvious.
We're here for the body, aren't you?
Yep.
He kind of thumbs over his shoulder. It's just down this small alley under a tarp. All right. It is a very short walk. It's only about 30 feet away from him. You can see the tarp from here. It's the shape of a humanoid, medium-sized creature. How would you like to go about investigating?
Pull the tarp off.
All right. Lifting the tarp off shows a middle-aged man. He is wearing dirtied clothes, stained in places, but they look to be common enough. You can definitely tell he has puncture wounds around his abdomen and his chest. The blood is pooled in this area, and even though you can tell that the whole area and the cobblestone's very moist here, a lot of it is still stained. But what immediately catches your eye is there is a circle of writing around him where he fell that looks to be drawn in blood.
Is my helmet blaring in music?
What? Oh, remind me, what is your helmet doing again?
I think if there's like demons or something, not like anything residual, just
But like real demons, like present demons?
I think.
No, it is not
I'm gonna
speaker
pretend
enough.
it is.
Okay. Give me a... Well, before that, looking at the drawn symbols around the body, you can definitely tell that it is a language of some sort. Does anyone here speak Infernal?
I speak primordial.
Anyone speak what?
Infernal.
Infernal.
Okay, I cast comprehend language on myself
Okay. Very cool.
and get down on the ground and put my hand near it to try to read it.
Yeah, as your spell finishes, you can see the runes kind of shift to the languages you understand. Kind of a mash of all of them at once, but still completely readable to you. It is a phrase that says, "For the fallen."
I go ahead and tell everybody else what it says.
You can see the Velnar, the dwarf guard, that let you back here, kind of wanders back too, now that everyone's kind of realized they're not going to actually get back there to see anything interesting. And he kind of wanders up to the side. "Oh, that poor bastard. He must have been walking home from his work."
He did say that he's kind of scared to walk back and forth. I kind of whispered to the rest of the group.
Where does this man work?
"I don't know where he works. I know where he lives." Okay. Yeah. Well, then you could read that too.
I think he's going to get down toward the man's feet. Is he still wearing boots?
Yeah, he's still wearing all of his clothes.
Pull a small knife out of the a sheath on one of his suspenders and pick up the man's boot and tug it off of his foot.
Okay. You can do so.
I'm going to inspect the bottom of his boot and using my knife, kind of pulling up any of the material, looking for any sort of natural material I might recognize, any stones or specific types of soils or any sort of plant matter.
Okay. Looking at the bottom of the shoe, with your passive being as high as it is, you don't even have to roll for this. You notice nothing that is immediately like amazing clue to you, but upon inspecting the ground around in the puddle of blood and around his body itself, there seems to be bloody footprints that are kind of mixed in around this place, like someone had paced back and forth. But you notice the bottom of his boots are clean. But no, there's nothing special on his boots other than the stonework and the mud and fauna you've seen walking the streets.
I'll look at the guard that's standing over there and I'll point out one of the red footprints. Are these your boots or is this the boots of the man that stabbed you?
He leans over and looks. No, none of us stepped on it. So he lifts his boots too to see that they are in fact clean as well. I think those were there when we got here. Also, I'll say.
I see some very, very fine crimes here, guards.
Oh, all he did was throw a tart. Like he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Montague, with your passive as well. No one else has a higher passive, right? Or high as. Yeah. Montague, with your passive as well, you'd be able to see that there looked to have once been another symbol drawn next to the body that looks to be like somewhat overtaken by the pool of blood, but something smudged it and now it's illegible. You just simply can't make out what it used to be, but it definitely looks like someone was intentionally drawing something else there.
Point that out to the you men that worship demon over here. More demon language. It's more of your demon language. It's whatever. It's infernal.
Yeah, it's just too illegible, and it's not a language per se. It's more like a symbol. But it looks like the symbol was drawn there, and then either by the guard being lazy or something smudging it or just the blood overtaking it as this poor person, Marcus Hallgate, bled out, it is destroyed beyond recognition. You can't quite make out what it could be, but it did exist.
Steps continue forward for a distance, or do they?
They do not. They are basically localized to this area. So the person may have walked around here enough for the natural moisture of the gray water of Baldur's Gate to wash it off his boots before he left.
Could I determine, last thing, can I determine what sort of a creature by height, weight, based on the impression of boot?
Yeah, give me a survival check.
Yeah.
I can assist with that.
With advantage, you would have a 24. So yeah, with assistance, looking around at the different clues, you can tell that whoever drew the symbols had very slender fingers, and whoever let the footprints had somewhat of small shoes. It wasn't like small like a gnome. It looks to be at least like a medium-sized creature, but whoever did it was very light.
The dirty elf, probably.
Clayborne's going to agree. The dirty elf. Oh God, your accent is so infectious. It's now canon that Clayborne just adopts all accents around her.
Yeah, social chameleon.
Yeah.
So I call out to the guard and ask him, does For the Fallen mean anything to you?
He shakes his head. I've not heard this before.
no other crimes in the area have anything similar?
He kind of like thinks and then says, I don't really have much information about other crimes in this area. I was stationed here today just to wait for someone else to relieve me. I'm supposed to be in the upper city, not in this hellhole. He kind of looks around and kicks at the mud.
Did someone just fall?
My
Like in real life?
Melinda has the zoomies, and so she's between a box in the window and the bedroom. So she just keeps jumping and turning in circles in the box.
Oh, I love Linda. Yep, Jackson is asleep. He goes crazy at about 11 p.m. Okay.
Sorry, I can't control the cat.
Yeah. I was just making sure that everything's safe. Carry on.
Ask the dwarf then. Is there any reason that an elf would want this man dead? Or want anyone dead? Perhaps elves that worship demon?
Or a drow.
He kind of leans forward. You think it was an elf?
I mean, something dirty and light, small feet. That sounds like elf to me, but I'm no expert in creature.
I kind of shuffle back out of the way.
I agree with you. That sounds like a dirty-ass elf.
I mean, they commit 85% of crimes.
I heard that was higher.
I am dead.
But no, not in particular. Marcus Hawgate was well respected as far as I know. I'm not from the lower city, but there's nothing that I was told that would say someone was out for him.
Marcus?
I know where he lives with his wife, Bolada.
Wife dead as well.
Well,
No.
not anymore.
The wife's not dead.
See here.
I would assume.
Just one more quick once over on the body.
Okay, give me a medicine check.
Am I able to help with that?
Of course.
I'm not proficient.
Yeah. So you can roll that with advantage if you like, Sean. Yeah, 15.
That's what I'd say.
Let's go with the 4.
Yeah, examining the body and the wounds themselves and kind of like rolling Marcus over a bit, you can see that there are exit wounds on the back, meaning that whatever pierced him, and the actual wounds are very small. It's not like a dagger, it's not like a rapier, it's not like a dirk or a stiletto. There's like a
Goddamn dirty drow with their effing guns.
it is a small perfect
We
cylinder.
don't know about.
It is a small
I've seen it before.
perfect cylinder that goes all the way through, and you can definitely tell that whatever made it was either very long or, like you said, very fast. Yeah, the two dwarfs off the back just like, oh yeah, the elves, yeah.
Well, you want to go talk to his wife?
Well, so you're done with the body then?
I assume that the pockets were cleared out.
We haven't touched him.
No, how did you find the
Oh.
letter?
Well, the letter was obvious. It was sticking out of his pocket. I took that.
Let's check.
We're definitely checking the pockets then.
Yeah, you check the pockets. There's nothing in them.
The letter was in his mouth.
Claiborne is just done with the murder investigation.
It fell out, obviously.
Half-assness.
Well, I rolled a 1. So did I find that?
You find nothing
Looking at
important.
The body, I'm going to take my disguise kit, and maybe there's some chocolate in it, and I'm going to draw an outline of the body.
Yeah, you can do that if you like. Yeah. The dwarf just watches you. Just well, as soon
That's
as
how it's done.
I was about to say Claiborne was just like, yeah.
as soon as you're gone, we're just gonna chuck it in a wagon and take it.
going to eat this man? What do you keep asking to deliver?
Yeah, what the hell are you talking about?
Claiborne is very suspicious now.
Well, I kind of want to watch you do whatever it is you're going to do.
But I
I'm
The-
really thinking probably some animals we can just feed these bodies to.
There are no animals.
Big
Where'd
great
that-
people for it.
Where'd the goat go?
There are no animals in the city, besides the horses that the watch have.
And peacocks?
Oh, the peacocks is just to show that your animal's legal. They don't really keep them here. They're more like a lease.
Claiborne is immediately sad.
But the dwarf does turn to you. Well, if you want to burn them, be my guest. That'll save me a job. I'll just leave.
yeah, I guess I'll burn them.
You just gonna make a bonfire on them or what?
Yeah, I'm just gonna cast bonfire.
Oh yeah,
Cast bonfire as well.
Create bonfire right on top of it.
yeah. As the whole area whoosh, just lifts with arcane fire, the body is incinerated in very short order. The runes kind of glow a bit as they burn away onto the rocks, and it kind of leaves like this charred black circle of ruin where this body used to lay. It's kind of metal, but in very short term, yeah, it goes to ash very quickly.
It's not alright, you're not summoning a demon.
Just cleaning up the city. No one needs to see us sick about it.
You said it was kind of cold and rainy, right?
It's warm and rainy.
More okay. Then she's not gonna hold her hands out and warm them.
I scoop up some of the ashes into like a pouch.
Sure, you can do
I
that.
want to use this to grow things with. Human ashes are very good. They are excellent fertilizer.
So yeah, y'all want to go to the Hallgate estate or the Hallgate house? Okay. Valnar gives you the directions to Marcus Hallgate's house, which is not too far away, actually. It's only about 3 blocks, so he was almost home.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, almost. And you come up to the house. It is a comfortable single story. There are windows out front, but the curtains are drawn. You can still see daylight being filtering inside through. And as time has passed in the morning, it's now about midday. Some of the fog's burned away. You get more vision. It's definitely getting warmer, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be this drizzled rain that's been occurring. Yeah, the drizzle. Yeah, it seems like a very simple house compared to everything else around here. But right now, what would you like to do?
It's just very knock.
Knock. Yeah.
You never know. People might just want to jump through a window.
Hey, I played with parties like that at the end for purpose.
All right, you come up to the door and knock. You hear footsteps from inside, and soon the door opens, and you see a proud-looking woman who's wearing a gray dress. Her dark black hair is kind of pulled back in a loose braid, but you can see definitely she's standing proudly as somebody who may have come from nobility at some point and is now living in a lower class. But you can definitely tell she's been crying. And as she opens the door, yes, how can I help you?
They're actually good. There's some very bad news.
This is about my husband, isn't it?
Serve justice.
I know he was killed. The watch came by earlier. He was a good man. Please come inside.
I will start playing some comforting. I think I have some kind of hand harp music.
Yep.
I will bring out my cat bear from my backpack again to see if it comforts the stomach.
Are you going to give it to her so she can pet it?
Yes.
Yeah, she'll take it. And you see her just holding back tears a bit as she pets it, and this very deep rumble from this bear that she holds on to. It's like, this is the weirdest day.
But it feels so right?
As you step in her house, you can see that it is well maintained, well kept. She herself is wearing pretty plain clothing, as was Marcus Hallgate himself. She introduces herself as Bonata Hallgate, his wife. There is a very simple sitting room that you walk into. There is a very small kitchen behind it, and there seems to be a door closed off into a single bedroom. That's right off to your left. And she motions everyone to sit as she pulls out a small thing of tea. Well, if there's anything I can help you with in your investigation, please let me know.
We happen to be traveling Monday night.
She gives you a look of, I don't know what you're talking about. And you see recognition in her face. I know of Sigrid, but I did not know anything about a letter. You see her kind of collapsing on herself. Oh, he told me he wanted to leave. I didn't take him any seriously. Two of his friends recently were killed. And he thought it wasn't a coincidence. He got more paranoid. I didn't want to leave. You see, my family grew up here in Baldur's Gate. I'm a native, and I did not want to leave. And it was probably me that kept him here.
Well, the reverse of that is if you have that problem.
She kind of nods her head. A faraway tragedy is much less important than a close one to her at the moment. And she kind of like, yes, you're right, but...
So what exactly did your husband and his friends do? For work, and hobbies, and whatever.
He didn't have any enemies. He was a good man. Everyone liked him. He works on a leather shop. He gets home at about 3 bells, usually, pretty late. And well, I mean, he has coworkers, but the 2 friends that he was worried about that died, no, they were just elsewhere in the city.
Was he friends with these men? Were any of them dirty elves?
You see her kind of like look at you like, what? Like, why would that matter? And she's like, no, none of them are elves.
What did they do whenever they hung up? Or...
She throws her hands up. What else is there to do at Baldur's Gate? Probably just drink. I know that he was faithful.
And maybe write messages in blood.
She looks appalled.
Jurek's husband have worry about demons?
You see her shoot a quick glance to you. No, not really. Why do you say?
He was surrounded by demonic writing when you find his book.
What did it look like?
It looked like demonic writing. What's this demonic writing look
No,
like?
I've never seen demonic writing. Why are you yelling at me? My husband died!
I think you're on mute.
I'm going to pull out the second cat, the actual cat, and hand that to her as well.
Just pile cats on her.
Yeah.
We look in, does he have a footlocker where he keeps private things he does not wish for you to look at?
Well, we don't have very many secrets. We're happily married, but...
Certainly, I believe you completely.
He does have something that he keeps very close to him. It does have very strange markings on it. Perhaps you'd like to see it.
Sure, certainly, yes. And I'll have some tea as well.
Can I
Alright.
insight check the happily married part?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. I can assist with
Oh,
that.
man.
Well, I'm going to say personal insight cannot be assisted
Oh,
because it's personal insight. If y'all wanted to
Yeah.
go into a different room and talk about it, then y'all could.
Assume she's-
Insight 9, she seems to be telling the truth. She seems genuinely like devastated. She portions out the tea. It gets up and goes and unlocks the bedroom door and goes into the bedroom. You hear her shuffling around in there. Just like leaning back and looking in, you can see that there's a very simple bed. Nothing here seems like ostentatious to you. However, you also see in the corner of the room there's a chair, like a rocking chair, and it has a dress draped across it. And the dress is just out of this world in how elaborate it is. Like, this thing must have cost a fortune. It's Luskin silk. Even from this distance, you can tell just from the sunlight through how it scintillates on the colors. It has
they
small
wanted to
gems.
immediately by this dress. It's uncomfortable in its dress. Because it's a dress.
Yeah, it looks like something. It looked like something maybe a Waterhavian noble might have, or even maybe an upper city noble in Baldur's Gate, but definitely not this class of people. And she does come out, leaving the door open to the bedroom as she sits down, and she has a small box in her hand. And she sets it on the table and pushes it forward. He's held this for as long as I can remember. I believe it was his father or his grandfather's. You can see it's an old wooden box, and it's inlaid with silver. And you can see the same infernal writing across the lid in a square around it. And you can see on top there is a carved inlay of a horse head with a sunburst pattern behind it. So those who can read infernal at the moment, who's that?
Me. Jimmy.
And Sean.
Yeah, Sean can read it. Both of you can read the runes. It says hell and back again.
He did not let you look inside this box?
I didn't feel like it was that important if it was a family heirloom.
Yeah. I'll slide the box over to Sean. I know that he knows things. Did his friends, did they also have lives, or were they a lonely bachelor?
I don't know. I didn't follow their daily lives and tribulations. I was out dancing with my friends last night.
Ladies' night is very important.
It is.
Did you wear that dress?
She shoots over to the side. Yes, I did.
How do you wear dresses? Like,
Oh, well, you don't put it on before you leave. You put it on when you get there. Were you asking?
you walk through the city gates naked?
No. Yeah, you wear regular clothes, and then you just carry the dress with you so it doesn't get dirty.
This is a very expensive dress. It's made of silk. Though silk is very impractical cloth, not made from plants, it's made from animal. Don't you know that? It's very expensive, however. Everything else in this house seems rather squalid. How do you afford very fancy going out dancing with us?
I cannot handle you, Jeremy.
His dumb stat is charisma. So he also hates all living things that are not plants. So
You can see like her expressions just jumping from one to the other as you go through this talk. But as you mentioned, like, where did you get the dress from? You see, like, for the first time since you got here, just the hint of a smile on her face. Oh, Harwin was always saying I should go dancing more, so he made me that beautiful thing.
I thought you said you worked with leather.
That's Marcus, my husband.
My bad. I don't have any more cats to give you. I'm sorry.
Oh no, Harwin is a friend of the family. He runs Harwin's Garments and Knits. in the lower city. I
Friend of family?
Oh yeah, friend of the family. I mean, I usually pay
Do you have
for.
sex with this friend of your family?
They are happily married. Shh. I'm gonna like try to kick the door behind
She
me a
said
little
that
bit.
he was faithful to her, not that she was faithful to him.
I am faithful, or was faithful to my husband. Harwin is simply a friend. Recently, he's been a little too attached to me. I would grant that. Usually, I pay for my dresses, but this one he gave me for free, and I was going to tell him not to do it again afterwards. But this one is quite so beautiful.
Maybe someone should look at the dress. I don't want to touch it because I think just being in the same room as it, I would get it.
I don't know much about dresses, but it looks expensive.
I mean, I feel like I know quite a bit about dresses, or at least costume dresses. Would you mind if I take a look, just out of curiosity,
She looks.
for my next outfit?
Yeah, she looks positively happy to assist you in doing so.
I'll go.
A backyard.
What's a backyard?
Yard in the back of your house. What does it sound like?
You mean extra land and inside the city? This isn't Upper City. Looking at the dress, and she'll assist you, so if you want to roll that with advantage.
Oh. There we go.
There you go, 20. Looking through it, all of it looks real. It is expensive. There's small little gems kind of sewn into the hems. The Luskin silk has like silvered thread that binds it all together. Whoever made this did so at a significant loss.
This is quite beautiful craftsmanship.
She thanks you.
Go back to looking at the goggles. They look special.
You mean the box?
The box. Right. The box.
Mm-hmm. The box is. What's in the box? You open the box. Inside, 1 second, let me look at this real quick. I'm assuming you open the box. Yeah, no, you can open it easily. That's why she slid it across the table. When you open the box, you can see a pair of crystal lenses just sitting in the middle of red velvet. They are made of leather with lenses of dark red crystal. The frame itself is emblazoned with the emblem of a horse's head on a sunburst on it. And as you pick it up, you realize that this is magical for sure.
This game is subtle.
There is no writing looking around, but give me a history check as you investigate this item. 10? Average. Yeah, it's the same symbol that's on the top of the box. And since y'all have been traveling with those from Elturel, this is the symbol of the Hell Riders, a group of highly trained knights that were at one point trained to lead a charge with the angel Zariel down into hell itself to take the fight to the Blood War. Only a few survived.
When I see him looking at the goggles.
Yeah, they're not goggles that you wear per se. They're two separate lenses that you put in your eye like a contact.
Okay, I thought there was like leather around.
There is. You got to put it in your eye.
So, these look.
Oh, I'm sorry. They are goggles. That's annoying.
I was about to say, are they contact lenses?
Well,
So
they
confused.
they
I'm like,
they call
eye attached.
they call them lenses, but then they say they fit over the eyes. Okay, that makes more sense. I read that wrong. I thought it said that there were lenses that go in the eye. I understand now.
Okay.
Can I see him? Can I see him like out of
Yeah.
the box? And can she see him with those out of the box?
Yeah, I mean everyone's just hanging out in the room.
I thought they were in another room looking at a drink.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't take too long.
Those are real nice. You should put them on.
Ever seen these before? And I'll to the lady.
She shakes her head. No, Marcus never took them out. Like I said, it was probably a family heirloom.
If you like, we can bring them to his cousin, who's at the wall.
Sigrun? Oh,
Yes, perhaps I should stop by and say hello to him.
he is part of the family, and well, if you can bring his murderer to justice, you can keep it.
So if we do not, then we will bring them back.
Maybe it'll help you. Who knows?
These friends of his, how long are they?
Well, the friends that I refer to are dead. She kind of thinks for a moment. To be honest, he's known them for quite a bit, actually. Probably as long as we've been together, at
Do
least.
you know where he met them?
No, he rarely spoke about them.
They were his lifelong friends, but they weren't invited to y'all's wedding. Everybody comes to Hobgoblin. They also stay for the after wedding.
Well, if you must know, when we got married, we were very poor, and we could only do the very minimum. Marcus worked hard to bring us up from what we came from.
Well, it sounds like he was a great man. Just keep petting the cats.
Where is Leatherworker's shop, and do you know where any of these friends live?
I don't know where any of the friends lived, but one second. Harwin's Garments and Knits. It's only about 2 blocks down to the left. It's
So
pretty
you work
close.
with your friend Harmon, who give you the nice threads.
He doesn't work with him, no. He's just friends of the family.
I mean, where your husband has Leatherworkers.
Oh, the leatherworking shop is across the city. It's more closer to the docks. It's Harwin liked the walk, but like I said recently, he was more skeptical about it. He did have another acquaintance in the city that he spent some time with. There's a guard for the upper city named Dovis Tobergate. They've hung out quite a bit recently, and I think he's known him for as long as he knew his past friends. Yeah, I think he's stationed out at Heap Gate.
Show me on the map where this is.
Yeah, I can check you over there.
So,
The other shop's probably closer.
Well, the docks are relatively close to this place, but where he worked on the docks was on the other side of the bay. They actually live very close. One second, let me. So, like you only walked a few blocks to get to his home, Marcus Hallgate, and the actual Harwins is only like a few blocks away. They live close together.
Check out the
Yeah, let's go talk to her friend.
It's a lot of money to spend on a dress for someone.
Okay.
Just before we leave, I'm going
You're going to what? I'm sorry, you cut out.
What?
You cut out.
Just before we leave, I'm going non-ritually cast detect.
Detect magic?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, look back at the dress really quick.
The dress is not magical.
Okay.
It is extremely expensive. The only magic you see pinging off is the personal equipment you have, and you get the general sense of alteration magic from the lenses.
Okay.
So Jimmy's gonna take the goggles and just put them on and see if anything looks differently in the area.
Yeah, 1 second.
Nice rose tinted glasses.
All right. As you put them on, you can see almost immediately the entire world just sharpens to you. You can focus extremely well on objects around you. These are eyes of the eagle. So these crystal lenses fit over the eyes. While wearing them, you have advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on sight. In conditions of clear visibility, you can make out details of even extremely distant creatures and objects as small as 2 feet across. This is the permanent magic item of the module.
Oh, cool.
It does require attunement.
So I'm just gonna leave them on and walk around with them.
Okay.
You meant about the dress.
So what about the dress? I'm sorry.
So let's go see a man about a dress.
Oh, okay. Baldnata will ask you to bring this murderer to justice if possible. She will greatly appreciate it. You can definitely tell from her demeanor that she is devastated her husband has died, but there's a part of her that's relieved that she no longer has to leave the city that she calls home. And as you leave the building and begin your walk,
the city or leave her dress.
that she hasn't leave the city. Yeah, she did not want to leave the city as Marcus was trying to warn her.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't want to leave, let's wait. And he did, and then he died. So now she feels guilty, but is also a little relieved that she doesn't have to leave her home. So as you leave the building itself, you don't get very far as you see another man, totally different from the others you met previously, but also wearing the same guard outfit, walking up, his half plate shining. You can definitely tell this is a seasoned warrior. He has multiple scars across his face. He looks to be in his late 50s with very short cropped gray sort of salt and pepper hair. And as he walks up, he lifts a hand in a very polite smile. Hail. Sorry.
Hail, and I cough back.
Yeah, it's very smoky out here today. Sorry. My name is Dovis. I recognize your description from Lamdoran.
I recognize your name. Yeah,
Oh, really? I was going to come give Monada my regards. I heard about Marcus.
And another dress.
So was another feeling.
Yeah, you can see the heavy wrinkles on his face kind of wrinkle up as he's kind of like, what? I think you might have me confused. Bonata? She dresses plainly, but you can definitely tell it's like she has the features and standing of someone that may have once been nobility.
Is she hot?
I mean, I don't know. You're a dwarf. Do you want to roll for it? I don't know how that works.
Is she conventionally attractive?
Yes, she is conventionally attractive.
Okay, that's fair. On a scale of 1 to 10.
Marcus himself was also a conventionally attractive man. Like both of
Yeah, that's fine.
they seemed about as normal people as you could find in Faerun.
So we heard that you recently became with Marcus.
Oh, it's not recent,
We're,
lass.
we're sorry for your loss.
It wasn't recent, my lady. I knew him for years and years. I knew his father as well. Our grandfathers served together.
Oh my.
Do you know all of
served
all of
together.
his family? Sorry.
I know a few of them. Why? Do you think one of them might have done this?
Goggles. I'd look at him and say, "What'd they serve on together?"
Yeah, he kind of does like a little half smile and kind of points to your face. I think you might know already. Our grandfathers were hell riders together. They went down into the fiery depths, came back alive to tell the tale.
Well, I would assume that if he didn't come back alive, you wouldn't be here.
Oh, perhaps. So, do you have any leads? Marcus was getting a little paranoid recently.
Who's this odd business in there? Very expensive dress.
Oh, you're talking about Harwin.
Seems kind of
It is. He's been harmless on his own for a while now, but recently he's taken more of an interest in Bonata, even when Marcus was around, which was a little odd to me. Oh. You can go check the list.
Oh, I forgot to ask. Is
It's a half street. Sorry, not a hard one.
do you know Harwin then?
I know him very well, yes.
Is he a man?
Man.
Is he a dwarf?
Oh, Harwin, he's a somewhat older man, yes. Kind of frail, doesn't get around much. Yes, these weird wispy hair things growing out of his ears. Ooh.
So into detail. Did you know the friends that were killed as well?
Yes, I heard about them, especially Marcus would talk my ear off about him. There was, there was Nagurt. He was killed about 6 months ago, attacked by some sort of large animal in the night. Very bloody, but not particularly suspicious. The animal was never found, and they dropped it. The second victim, I think Marcus, let me think. It was an old woman named Myrna. I don't know these people. These are people that Marcus made friends himself. Even though I know that he knew them for a while, we never met. She was killed about a month ago. Had been cut up awful, and her blood smeared on a nearby wall. So much of it, you could still see it after the long, hard rain. Someone must have truly hated her. Neither of the victims had any local relatives that I know of, and as far as I know, the Fists closed their investigations pretty quickly. I'm saddened by my friend's death, but Marcus seemed to think that something was after him and the people he knew. Seems like the companions light wanes every day that passes in Baldur's Gate.
Do you know what For the Fallen or Hell and Back again means to you?
Hell and Back Again was a creed. Something that the Hell Riders lived by. My grandfather used to say it. Sort of a way of remembering. And For the Fallen was also something they said. It was in remembrance of those that was left behind. Well, I can only assume that he kind of takes a step back in shock. Infernal. I don't know anyone who even knows that language.
Now you know too.
Obviously, you read it. Wow.
Do his friends should say they affiliated with all this?
You know what? He's going to have to make a history check. Where are you? There we go. Is history wisdom or intelligence?
It's intelligent.
Oh, freak. He critted on it. All right. He kind of thinks for a moment, and you just see like the gears spinning in his head as he kind of tightens his fist on the pommel of his broadsword on his hip. You know, I think they were. I think Marcus, Myrna, I think they all served their families in the Hell Riders. You see his face kind of go grave. I think you might be right.
Can I insight check that?
Of course. $11.
Man, it's so average
Yeah,
tonight.
he seems about as serious as you would expect someone who's now learning that his life might be in danger. You see him kind of nervously shift on his feet. I'm gonna have to take some precautions. Didn't really put this together until you said so, but gosh, I don't know if I need to leave the city now or not.
You could start by reporting to Karen. She was tasked with investigating
Yes, I'll send a
Or you
lamplighter.
can hang out with us.
Or you can be bait.
Yeah. I was trying not to say bait, but right to the point, gory punch.
He kind of,
Straight shooter.
you can definitely tell the expression on his face is, I do not want to be bait, but he's like, well,
You'd
the
be perfectly safe with us.
the killings are spaced out and random. I'm not sure if just because you're looking, they would decide to strike.
I can tell a story about the Hell Riders and all of the taverns in Alder. And name you.
I was about to say that's not a bad idea until that last second.
Well, that sounds like a plan. You can go ahead with that. Meet me at Heat Gate if you want to go through with this sometime later. I'm going to spend...
Okay.
I have one last question. Who would want, obvious intervening demon, who would want the Hell Riders dead that might live in the six?
He just simply opens his hands like he has no clue.
Are there demon worshipping? Are there cults that worship demons?
Such as the cult of Bane.
Perhaps the people we
Yeah.
killed earlier, like 20 minutes ago?
Oh, well, the Banites don't worship a demon. They worship a god. And as far as I know of, there are no specific demon cults operating in the city. But then again, I spend most of my time guarding a gate into the upper city.
I would suggest taking the precautions necessary to keep yourself more safe.
Will do, my lord. I can spread the word, but I don't know any of them personally. Sometimes that lineage is kept secret for whatever reason.
Because people killed them.
Apparently. Well, it was good talking to you. I'm going to go send my regards to Bonana.
Now that we made him feel awesome. You want to die?
Yeah, you see him as he walks away. He definitely looks down every alley as he's walking. Now, kind of suspicious of everything around him.
Hey, Kevin, we have had enough time for a short rest.
Yeah, y'all are just talking. Yeah, y'all can just take a short rest. You're just walking and talking. That's
I'm
fine.
just gonna, prep in case something jumps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. You can take a short rest. Okay,
Let's go talk to the dressmaker.
you rolled a D10 plus 2. All right.
Let's go talk to the dressmaker.
Walking down the street, once again, it was only like 2 blocks and a left, and it's there. You come up to Harwin's Garments and Knits, which is painted very festively on a hanging sign. You can see that the shop itself is... There's a ground floor that consists of 2 rooms. You can just simply tell that because the windows are open. There's a front shop and a workshop. It is decorated with several mannequins on the outside that are roughly split into 2 halves. One featuring sewn garments, such as dresses and vests, and the others displaying knitted wool items like sweaters and hats. There's no one outside at the moment, but you do hear activity inside. You can also tell that there is a apartment of some sort, a very small building that is above it on a second story that looks like it was tacked on later. But it does have a stairway that goes on the outside of the building up to it.
And the activity we hear is just like dress shop.
You hear one person moving about. It doesn't seem like there's any customers. And since the windows are open, you occasionally catch the glimpse of a young man moving back and forth quickly with tape measures over his shoulders.
Does he have tiny feet?
You can't really tell his feet
Yeah.
from this distance.
And I do still have detect magic up.
Okay. You don't sense anything.
Let's go in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Opening the door, there's a small tingle of a bell, and you see a. Actually, 1 second. I have to get his actual description here. Yeah, it's a younger man, probably in his early 20s, human, who turns, and he has a very nice haircut. Seems like he's trying to keep himself sharp looking, and he has a customer service smile on his face as you walk in.
Claiborne's again immediately uncomfortable.
He looks all of you over. Well, you can't try anything on with the armor. What are you here for? How can I help you?
Harlan, please.
I'm sorry, Harlan's gone for now. He's taking a trip.
So where?
1 second.
You see, we saw this gorgeous dress over at the Hallgate family, and I would just love to meet the person that made it.
I believe that. I'm sorry. How do you know Harwin?
Oh, I don't know him. I just heard his name from Mrs. Hallgate.
Oh, Bonata. Yes, she's
Bonata.
she's a routine customer of ours. He picks up a broom and just starts sweeping compulsively.
Does he look shifty at all?
No, he looks nervous.
Okay.
He looks like an apprentice that was suddenly put in charge of the whole shop.
Did Harlan go then?
Well, he's taking a caravan. He's going to check on a shearing operation that's outside town.
He's very far gone then.
Well, I mean, it's been a few hours. I suppose that if you hurried, you might be able to catch up to him. It is odd that he would go check on the sheep, though. We have wool, and Harwin doesn't like sheep. But anyway, Harwin must have left sometime before I got here this morning. His tea was still in his mug. It was still warm. He left this note that said, "Clean the shop and keep it open." I don't know what to tell you.
Could we look at the note?
Yeah. He pulls out a small piece of parchment and is very quick writing. It's a single sentence that says, "Clean the shop, keep it open."
And are you sure that's his handwriting?
He nods. Yeah, I watch him write out bills for slips every day.
We're all now CSI investigators.
I'm gonna start playing some music in the background. After a minute,
After a minute, what? I'm sorry, you cut out.
I'm gonna need him to make a wisdom save for the.
Oh, do you get that on a short rest?
Yes.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is a wisdom save?
Yeah, DC 12.
Oh, shoot. Where's my thing? He made a 14.
Okay.
Oh,
He is not charmed.
as a commoner, he made a 14. He does hear the music, though, and kind of stops sweeping slowly just to listen.
Yeah, I'll just keep playing. Pretend I'm not actually doing something shifty.
Is Harwin in trouble or something? Why? What?
Fans of dresses. We all want to buy pretty dresses.
Oh, well, I mean, he himself will probably not be back for a few days, I think.
Is tea still warm?
Oh, not anymore. I already cleaned the glass.
Figures.
You see this guy's name's, I shit you not, Zook.
That's getting written down in the notes.
Zook kind of he shrugs his shoulders, but he still has the the smile of a young man trying to hopefully maybe make a sale. I don't know. He took his brass knitting needles with him. Maybe he was planning on trying something new.
These dresses.
Oh, he knits the wool.
I'm so confused.
How long are these knitting needles?
They're pretty long. He goes into a drawer and he pulls out not brass ones, not like the nice ones. He pulls out wooden like mock-up ones, and they're probably like 13 inches long.
Would they be long enough to go through a body?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that is very fascinating. I would love to take me through all of the dresses that are here and explain to me all the fabrics, sewing techniques. And I turn around and wink at my party.
Of course. Hold on, let me put this down. Puts the broom back. Here, let me show you. We just got this from not too long ago, and he just kind of trails off showing you everything they have.
And I jerk my stairs to the party. I go, oh my gosh, that is just so fascinating. I haven't ever been there before. Tell me all about it.
As soon as they're out of sight.
What would you like to do?
And Jimmy's gonna go walk upstairs.
Okay.
I'm not gonna sneak. I'm just walking up the stairs.
With the glasses.
Well, the stairways are on the outside of the building, so as long as Zook is inside showing Nissa around, then you can definitely just walk up there without being seen by him.
So I use my naturally stealthy ability and tuck behind someone and then sneak out of the building.
Yep, you can do so. Going up the wooden steps, you come up to a single door that looks to open into a single room, but you try the handle, it is locked.
Claiborne is so conflicted. She doesn't know if she should stay inside of the female and finish the dresses, or if she should snoop around.
I'm gonna try to force the door open.
Okay, it will make noise.
Mm-hmm.
All right, how are you going to force the door open?
I start playing louder.
I'm gonna grab the door handle and then slam my shoulder into it.
Okay, give me an athletics check.
If it makes any sound, then Claiborne will probably go outside to see what's up.
Oh yeah, this thing,
Wow.
yeah, your gauntlets of ogre strength.
Oh, I forgot about the gauntlet.
Yeah, you kind of post up against it, and as you push, it doesn't feel like you're pushing very hard when you slam into it, but there's a weight behind it that just seems magical to you, and it shatters the door handle open as the door swings open.
Good job.
All right, this is a single room apartment that has a very small like washroom ante to it. You can see that the bed is unkept. Everything here seems kind of tossed a bit. And you can also see in the back where there's a wash basin. And there is a tunic sort of tossed over the edge that is stained with blood.
Stained with.
Blood.
Sorry. I would like to investigate said tunic.
Okay. Give me a medicine check as well.
I'll give advantage with the medicine check.
Okay. You roll with advantage.
No, just kidding. I don't have.
Oh, you just have. Okay. That's still pretty good. The actual tunic itself looks like it is designed for a tall man of slender build. You can definitely tell that it is splattered with blood around the handle, around the lower sleeves. And you can see in the wash basin itself a half-hearted and failed attempt to wash out this from the fabric. You can easily tell that it is only a few hours old.
I think we need to go after this guy.
You can also see with investigation of 19, there is a cloth in the basin itself that is exceptionally fine and spotless, except for the blood that looks to have been used as like a rag. And you can see that this cloth was around the knitting needles that were below whenever Zook took them out of the drawer.
Let's take the cloth and let downstairs know what upstairs. We can try to follow.
Okay. You can all come downstairs. Excuse me.
I'm just down there talking about how in Skullport we use cider silk for a lot of things. Comparing it to the Luskin silk.
Jimmy just closes the door as best he can.
You can wedge it. There's extra wood there now, but you can try to wedge it shut.
As we're walking down the stairs, I'll actually press the just get around.
Screw him. We just need to go after this guy before there's a bigger gap between us.
So I'll
Claiborne will go back in and pretend that there's something else that she needs.
You need me to go to the bathroom with you?
Yes, you know how we have to go in herds.
Okay.
Safety
It was nice to meet you,
numbers.
Zook. Bye. I'll be back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be here.
All right, now I wave and just and leave.
Yeah.
everyone's out of the shop. I showed them the bloody rag. Say we found this upstairs. There's also a tunic covered in blood.
All right. Yes.
Do we know the direction to where he went?
Luke told us.
Yeah, Zook would have told you that he was headed towards Blackgate.
Okay.
Okay, so to the north.
Yeah, headed towards through the upper city.
So we'd have to go through Heathgate.
Yes, you would.
Right.
I guess if I was gonna say, are we gonna talk to? Let's find what's his name and let him know what we found. Maybe we can send back up.
Yeah, good idea.
Mm-hmm.
He hopefully has a routine.
Well, he went to give his condolences first. So let's hope he's done.
Oh yeah, if he's still in the street, can we grab him?
He is not. He was there for a very short visit, and it seems like he has concluded that Bolnata is still there and says as such that he went back to his post.
Block south of us.
Like 2 blocks, yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, I'll run like hell to catch up with the long-legged ones.
Onwards. Can I like pick him up?
Most of us.
I will carry the shortest one.
We have
Well,
two rock men.
I would say it's not
Oh, okay.
it's not so much that you need to move fast. The problem is moving fast in the city.
It's just all the people that are everywhere.
Yeah, so just to give you a frame of mind, from Basilisk Gate to where you went to the body, it took an hour and a half.
Oh.
Yeah, let's.
So this is technically it's like a very slow chase, right? There is a series of skill checks that you can do to improve your odds of catching up. That is
Yay, skills check.
it is completely up to you as a group on how you want to do that. You can use backgrounds, you can use skills, you can use spells, and expenditure of resources is a very good indicator of success.
So
So
can Jimmy just push people out of the way with his 19 strength? Everybody follow behind.
if you want to give me an athletics check, yeah.
If you guys are down with that, I'm down with that.
Well, if everyone's going to push through, it's going to be a group athletics check.
I will go ahead and cast enhanced ability
On who? I'm sorry, you cut out.
on myself.
Okay.
Doing myself cat's grace as I like dodge around people.
All right, cool. Do you want to give me an athletics check for your? I'm going to show people. Oh, that's great. That is most definitely a success. What about Michelle, Sean, or Jeremy?
Oh, I lost actually, or I picked
Mhm.
there's tons of people around us still, right?
There's almost always a ton of people. Yeah.
Obviously, the rock gnome show. Are there any mercenary types hanging around that might know some information?
Yeah, there's always mercenaries walking around, especially the lower city.
I would just grab the closest person to me, rather probably mercenary in this town,
Yeah.
city, of fuckery, and describe. Hey, have you seen a weird guy, maybe covered in blood, maybe not, but running around with brass knitting needles? By the name of Harlan.
Yeah, asking for directions essentially, like what, where did they go? All right, give me a persuasion check with advantage. A 20. Yeah.
Glad that was advantage.
That is a success. Yeah. Due to your background, they recognize one of their own, and they eventually, yeah. Yeah. They set you up with a few, one of the lamplighter kids, the urchins that are running now that it's midday and it's full sunlight. Their job is essentially over. So they basically hook you up with a kid to lead you on the same path that the caravan went.
I have 2 cats and a kid. Awesome.
Yeah, just as a guide that helps you move a little faster through the city.
I will still ask if the child wants to live in my backpack.
He's going to report that to the Flaming Fist. But sure. Okay, give me an intimidation check. Woo! So that's 2 successes for a crit. So if Jeremy fails, everyone still succeeds. Everyone succeeded. Look at all these rolls.
No, he has an idea.
Okay.
I walk in the opposite direction. Deal with that.
As he's heavily hurrying to catch up, because Monkey's actually the slowest of them. He kind of waves a hand, and you all smell this terrible smell. That smells just like a skunk, and you hear him say, "Well, I've never seen skunk in city before," like really loudly, to try and basically get people to move out of our way.
That's great.
Using druidcraft to make it smell like a skunk.
I would say, can you perfectly mimic smells with druidcraft?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's going to succeed because no one wants skunk. All right, cool. Well, that was roundly successful. Given all the extra above and beyond abilities that you use to shove your way, smell your way, convince a kid to follow you, ways of getting through the city, all of you managed to make record time going through to Heapgate. And as you get there, Dovis is not there, but as you get up to it and simply drop his name, the 2 guards will look to each other and simply like, all right, for the day, we'll waive the fee this time. And all of you can push through into Upper City, which is a night and day difference between the classes. Moving through.
Are these guards the flaming hand?
They are not. The guards of the Upper City are its own like private security of the patriarchs that live in Baldur's Gate, the upper class. The Flaming Fist is a mercenary group that is hired by the Dukes of Baldur's Gate to keep the rest of the city in line. And so as you make it through the upper city, you see like mansions with private gardens, fountains, plazas where people are just slowly gathering and walking with fine clothing. It is a night and day difference between, yeah. Oh yeah, if you make it smell like skunk too. You do see that during the day they do allow lower city folk into upper city to do trade. As you go past the central area here, there's just a massive market of lower city folk set up there. But they all have this single like coin hanging from a ribbon on there that only gives them entry for the day, and during the night they are going to be kicked out. And all you make your way through over to the Black Dragon Gate, which is here. It's not labeled. But as you come up to the gate, it's not as big as the Basilisk Gate, but it does have this massively carved black dragon bust that it just reaches over into the city itself. And supposedly that's where a hero hung the head of a slain black adult dragon before, and so they made a statue there to commemorate it. And as you walk through there, you get into Blackgate proper, and you see two covered carts that's slowly making their way through. One second. You have caught up with them as they are just about to leave Blackgate. Here we go. Okay. The caravan's moving slowly through the busy thoroughfare. And you can see that just about like 200 yards away, it turns north to the Great Trade Way towards Waterdeep. There's plenty of noise from the other passerbyers, but it's definitely quieter here than the endless chatter of the city. It's brightly lit, and you can see that there are two carts. They are covered, but looking at it, you can also see that there are about 5 guards that are pretty well armed, walking with the caravan themselves. One of them has a silver band around their collar, and it looks to be leading the other 4. How would you like to approach?
With the goggles on, I look at the cards to see if I can see the guy we're looking for on either of them.
Give me a perception check with advantage. We'll take the first 15, since that was the first roll.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. With a 15, you narrow down, and you can almost feel your irises like spinning as it zooms in to these people sitting in the back of the carts. One of them does indeed have a older gentleman that has these white wispy hair coming off his head in a very gray sort of trench coat, but you definitely tell underneath there's almost a very frilly lapel that's purple and gold underneath. You can definitely tell that he's sitting there with a much better dress with a coat trying to hide it.
Hey, Kevin, you keep breaking out like every other word. I can barely hear you.
All right, let me restart Discord. Sometimes that happens. Is that any better?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. So Discord sometimes goes wonky after a while. You do see the man, an older gentleman in a gray robe that is hiding a very ostentatious clothing under it. And he is kind of just sitting there doing nothing, watching the other passengers as they truck along slowly.
I point him out to the party and say, there he is. Go get him.
This is a moving caravan, correct?
Slowly. They're having to navigate the streets. They're full of people, and they're having to wait at times, lurching along occasionally. Like, you could walk probably faster than they're moving at the moment. To the door, like to the actual Black Dragon Gate. Probably another 200 yards. Yeah, and they're probably not going to leave their post anyway because they're posted guards. They're not just walk-in guards.
Okay. Oh. I suppose I could put a bonfire over there from the first pilot.
Maybe we just try our. Who has the?
Yeah.
Who has our?
Are you talking about the goggles?
Like the thing that will let us. Did we have like a note of some
Like
description?
paperwork saying that we're investigating.
No, y'all didn't get anything.
A warrant for the arrest.
Not at all.
Just homed in on the cart. He looked suspicious. Can we tell if he looked like he's watching? Appears shifty.
He looked paranoid.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you going to get any closer? Because otherwise you'd be with disadvantage.
Oh, that's what I was asking. Close enough.
You would have to get closer. Jimmy can do it because he has eagle eyes.
Oh, that's right.
Jimmy's gonna try to look at him to see if he looks like he's paranoid, if he's looking out for us.
Okay. This is going to be an insight check.
Oh, insight.
But you can make the roll because you could see that well.
Okay.
Which is unfortunate. I blew a 20 for you. 17. That's pretty good. Looking at him, he seems relaxed. He's not really paranoid. He's not looking around like he's suspicious. He looks bored of anything.
Okay.
Ask Jimmy. Is he knitting?
He is not knitting, no.
Okay. He's not expecting us, so if we just split the party, half go on one side of the caravan, half go on the other, make sure he doesn't try to bolt one way or the other.
We can stop those horses.
Traffic's gonna stop the horses.
I can make the horses want to stop very quickly.
Will that hurt the horses?
It will definitely hurt the horses. I will not attack the horses. I'm going to make sound of snake, which horses do not like, and then horses will bolt. They may get hurt in the thing, but you know that.
Claiborne's very confused by this druid, but whatever.
So what's the plan?
I kind of like the thought of being a little bit sneaky.
Yeah. And
How
we
long did it-
use horse fuckery in an extreme emergency.
Considering that no one, I would say considering that no one knows you're coming and they don't even know who you are, you could walk right up to them onto the side, into the front, anywhere you want, and no one's going to care.
I say, let's tackle that.
Tackle him off the cart.
How many people are around them?
There's 4 merchants in each cart, him including one of them. And then,
It looks like they have guards around him.
yes, they have 5 guards. One of them has a silver band across his shoulder, across his collar. That is obviously the leader, and he himself is suspicious, looking around, but he's not being very cautious because they're not out of the city yet.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna walk, like, not look like I'm staring down the cart, just walk like I'm going down the street, getting closer to the cart.
Yeah, you could do that without arising suspicion. As long as you don't do anything overtly suspicious, no one's going to look at you.
All good.
Yeah, you can all go.
Yeah.
I'll go on the left side if somebody wants to go on the right.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Girls on the right, boys on the left.
There we go.
Yeah, y'all can easily
I feel
surround.
very safe with Claiborne.
Here, actually, let me switch maps. You have a visual of kind of where you are and what's happening here. And y'all can put yourselves where you like. Ugh, stop it.
Or like, I think that's my favorite part about this is Kevin sass talking.
Arguing with the Roll20, yeah.
Yeah, with roll 20.
It sometimes like doesn't take my movements. So all of you should be able to see this now.
Yes.
So you can see Harwin here is in the front cart.
Okay.
There are 4 in each of these, and the guards are just interspersed walking down the city. One in front kind of leading the way, ushering people to the side as the horses kind of have to stop at times. And you can see that this one here is the one that, I'm going to put a little mark on him, is the one that has the silver collar. And he's at the very front. So y'all can put your tokens wherever you want because no one here cares as they walk around.
I'm gonna come up on this side. But I don't want to be in the front because I don't want the goggles to be a dead giveaway if he knows what they mean.
That's fine.
Sean,
I'm gonna hang out on this side. Because if I'm going to spook a horse, I'm going to spook this one. So
Yeah,
it would run forward into the other horse, as opposed to that other horse is taking off.
Not,
I was expecting one cart with multiple horses.
no, there are 2 covered carts.
Yeah.
You see that Belkis himself kind of notices the group as a whole, because you're armed and you're like walking through. But at this moment, you are currently walking through. Like if you were to stop and linger, you get the feeling he might be more suspicious. But at the moment, you just notice a cursory, like, all right, I see you.
I'm just gonna give him like the sign of the black fist or burning fist or whatever they are.
Flaming fast.
Flaming fist, yes.
He kind of like looks at you odd, like, all right, and kind of half-assed does it back. But you notice he is not Flaming Fist.
Yeah. I was trying to pretend I was on.
Yeah, it's kind of like this. Yeah. Oh, here's this official salute, and he's like, oh, all right, yeah, sure, buddy.
Yeah, just I guess keeping pace apart, like
So what's the plan?
kind of people.
Does
No.
somebody want to confront him?
Now that we are closer, just still appear to be calm, chilling.
Yep. Doesn't seem to have really noticed or cared. I mean, there's been a time where his glance looked over and saw Nissa walking by, but it was just a cursory look. There's a bard. That's interesting. And then he goes back to just looking at the side of the cart.
And I'm ready to move up and ask him.
Nicely.
Yeah, not like, hey, you, but just, excuse me, sir. Do you have a moment to talk about our good Lord and Savior? Kidding. Just, yeah, like, hey, I've got some official business. Do you mind to talk to you?
Yeah. Do you mind confessing to murder?
Excuse me.
Are you talking across the other
Yeah,
merchant?
across whoever this person is right here. Because we said girls on the right, boys on the left. So just, excuse me, ma'am, sir, child.
He looks over and you see him kind of squint a bit, like, are you talking to me? And
Yes, sorry, all these people everywhere. We wanted to talk to you about a dress.
he opens his mouth to begin talking, and you just see his expression change for a moment. His muscles go a little slack, and he begins to speak to you, but you can tell his voice is not what it should be. It's emotionless, distant, almost heavy. Welcome to Baldur's Gate. Thank you for bringing them to me. You can have him now. And you see him just kind of shake for a moment and be like, oh, yes. What is this about?
Claiborne is doing. Did the guy in front of me do anything weird? The one wearing the silver shackle necklace?
He's turned around and he's listening to the conversation, but you're not reaching in for him or anything, so he's just going to sit and watch.
Okay. As we're all moving in the same direction.
Yeah, he kind of steps to the side to keep a better
Block of traffic.
view of the cart. But, I mean, until someone does something weird, he's not going to be weird about it.
scritch the horse's butt while still talking.
Okay.
And I'm gonna look. I guess Jimmy closest to me. I'm gonna give you a look. Like, do you see any? Like, I'm trying to mentally ask you with my eyes. Did you see anything weird?
I just shrug.
Hear what I heard?
Yeah, everyone heard it. It was his voice that sounded strange. Now, you've never heard him speak before, but even for a standard human, there's something wrong with it.
Did you have something in your throat?
Oh, whatever do you mean?
You didn't sound like yourself there.
I'm sorry, you have me at a disadvantage. Who? Do I know you?
Yes, I'm sorry. I asked you about a dress, and then said something about bringing him to me.
He looks
Is
genuinely
Claiborne's
befuddled.
helmet doing anything?
It's only when I attack.
Oh, okay.
It's only when I hit a demon. Right now, it's just flashing my hit points to everyone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
With the flare from Aaron.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. We were talking about a dress.
Yes. I'm gonna like look back frantically at Nissa.
You see,
Like,
I'll run up
I
and say,
have
you
20
have such long legs.
I have 20 gold and I need a dress. Like, I'm clearly distressed about trying to maintain a conversation about a dress.
Harwin moves over and like switch places with a like rather rotund lady who's overdressed for the weather, and you see her like grumble mumbling as he moves over. Is like, oh, I didn't realize we were talking about business.
I'm so sorry. My friend here, she wants to try her feminine side out. And
Claiborne snorts, but smiles.
we heard, I mean, we've seen examples of your work. And if we're gonna get her a dress, it has to be from the best dressmaker in the city. And since we're going to be leaving soon, we wanted to catch you before you left.
Oh, you just made it. I'm still on my way out, but you can always leave an order with my apprentice Zook back in my shop.
Oh, but we have no idea when we'll be back.
I really need it now.
Well,
Look at me. Look at me. I need help, sir.
He's a man.
he kind of looks like, damn, I wish I was at my shop.
He needs to relax.
He has a look on his face like, damn, I wish I was at my shop. I'm terribly sorry. I cannot create you a dress on the road. I can give.
That's why we came to bring you back to your shop.
He just kind of looks befuddled for a moment.
Can I jog forward?
Yeah.
As I see all this going on, one of you kind of jogs up behind you.
You see,
He has to kind of run to keep up.
yeah. At this point, the as a third person comes up to the cart, the silver-haired man raises a hand with fingers in the air, and you see these approach as well.
Fine, I have no weapons. I'm just gonna kind of yell at the guy. Why are you leaving?
I was on my way to check on some of my suppliers.
Need to check on your suppliers?
Yeah, it seemed reasonable, you know.
But you hate sheep and you have plenty of wool. So why are you leaving? Why did that seem reasonable?
He kind of looks at you quizzically. How do you know I have all the wool I need?
You were at your shop to get the large one a dress. What the fuck do you think?
Oh, you've already.
We weren't going to just trust an apprentice.
I apologize. I was not aware.
I want the shop owner. I need the best.
I understand now. I was unaware that you had already been to my shop. But yes, it's true. I have wool. And my suppliers are very reliable. It just, I don't know. It seemed reasonable. You know, he told me it was reasonable.
Wait, who told you?
Oh, him, Garazol. Garazol. I don't know who he is, but you know, he tells me things, and it sounds reasonable.
So you hear voices in your head.
Yeah, it's more like advice, really.
Why do you trust your head in advice?
You know, I'm not really a trustworthy man, but it just sounded like something that was reasonable to do. You know?
Yeah, Jimmy just pops in. He's like, I believe in listening to yourself. That's a good call. But what did Marcus tell you to do?
Marcus, tell me to do what? When?
Well,
What are you
looked like
referring
you guys
to?
had a run-in the other day.
Oh, you mean last night?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we crossed paths as he was coming home, and I stabbed him to death.
No way.
I turn and look at the guard standing right next to me with my hands out like,
He goes in his pockets and he pulls out these 2 long brass knitting needles, and he holds them up, and you can definitely tell they're stained because it's brass. He's like, yeah, it just seemed like it was the right thing to do, you know? He told me he told me I should do it, and then, you know, it sounded right.
So you know what sounds right now?
Garzon.
Sounds like you need to turn yourself in, buddy.
For what?
For
for the
murder?
fallen! For the fallen!
I'm gonna turn to the guard. What does the guard look like? Does he seem like he's paying attention?
Oh yeah, they're all paying attention. He hears the whole conversation, and you just see a look on his face that's like, I'm not getting paid enough to get involved in any of this.
Okay. He's just like standing there eating popcorn. Great.
I mean, he's getting paid to guard the caravan, not like just one Harwin. So he's like, as long as you don't attack the caravan, my job is fine.
Okay, so he's now sitting right here next to this. I climbed over this woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I climbed up onto the stairs.
Should I just be like, sir, I think you need to come with us, please?
I have business to attend to. Why? Why do I have to come with you?
Because you murdered him.
You're
Well,
right in the head, sir.
I concede that
But
I'm.
now we're still willing to pay you for a dress in order
Yes.
to get our friend to your lady.
That's good to know. But listen, I don't think I did anything wrong, okay? It sounded like the right thing to do, and then now it's done.
Here's your option. We're going to walk along with this cart, and we're going to tell the guards at the gate that you are a murderer with knitting needles that clearly paint you as a murderer. Or you could get off the cart and talk to us, and maybe we'll let you go.
Well, I don't think I need letting go. I did nothing wrong, really.
We'll let you just go whatever you want without telling anybody.
I can just do that now.
Oh my God.
Can I just grapple him and pull him off the cart?
Yeah, as you start making the move to do so, he kind of like, he doesn't recoil. He just kind of like flinches a bit. And he's like, oh, do you intend to take me in?
I intend to take you. I am a virgin hobgoblin, by the way.
Wait, what?
You're going to crush him.
Yeah, Harwin puts his hands up and like crawls out of the wagon as everything sort of stops in the hall, or stops in the alleyway.
Are the guards still eating popcorn?
I mean, at the moment they're confused what not to do. They're looking at their leader, whose name is Belkis. And Harwin comes out, like, I'm not going to resist. Trust me. Please don't hit me.
No.
I'll go with you if I have to. And you see the Belkis kind of look over at you and go, you know, I was paid to guard the caravan, so.
I'm gonna go ahead and reach into my purse and hand him 2 gold and say, thank you for your service.
I will add more to that.
All right.
I think we need to take care of this, Belkis.
Doesn't sound like you can. Just let them go.
I'm sure that lady will appreciate having 2 seats in the caravan.
So whoever wants to helm this, give me a persuasion check with advantage
I can.
for your 5 gold bribe. $14. He takes the gold, he kind of hefts it in his hands and counts them, counts the people around him. You can tell he's not the smartest tack. He's like, All right. I see you know how to do business here at Baldur's Gate. You can take them. Yeah,
We don't want to hold you up any more than we already have.
you are free to go, and Harwin will not put up a fight.
Okay.
I will do my best to apologize. Passengers. And tell them, don't murder people with knitting needles.
All of them seem like this is normal thing, a normal common sense thing to know.
Normal day in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, you see Harwin just like, oh, I don't understand. What's the problem with this? So, you do have Harwin in tow. What would you like to do?
I'm going to go ahead and tie him up as well.
Yeah.
That's fine. He looks to be in his 70s, and so,
Oh, shit. Okay.
yeah. He has no weaponry other than what you would consider his knitting needles.
Can we
I
confiscate those?
I will
Yeah.
put those in a sterile pouch.
Yeah, you can take them.
I like how we've all become CSI investigators.
And then I my sunglasses.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah!
Ray-Ban.
All right. So as you have apprehended the murderer, you can take him to the Flaming Fist headquarters. Report to Flame Darren Falburn, which is her last name, and deliver your final report as he is put into the stocks. She takes everything you say into consideration, all the evidence you've gathered, and as she sits there looking at it, she's like, "You did good work. All of this seems to be correct. You know, everything seems to add up here. However," she like slaps it onto the desk, "it seems our efforts were for naught. Another man has been killed and the same bloody symbol drawn on their remains. It only just happened, so it couldn't have been this man." And she like goes over and picks up. It's like, seems like it was a guard, some man named Dovis, and tosses it on the pile.
Hold it.
Did we tell her
Should have
that
stayed with that.
we believe that this man was compelled by somebody else?
Yeah, you can tell her the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why she's saying that it's the person responsible for this is not just one man.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, you didn't take a killer off the streets that was in this. It's ongoing. So true to her word, though, she directs you to the outer city where Vasha is pleased to inform you the refugees have not been idle, as the Flame Falburn took some initiative and assumed your success. She has found them a place to stay in the warehouse near the docks. So everyone is safe and sound. The goat is returned. And all of your refugee friends are allowed access to the lower city to try to begin a new life after the fall of El Terrell. And so ends the module.
Before we leave, what is the fate of Knitting Needles?
Oh, he is beheaded.
Okay. Well, fuck.
Yeah.
Even
Oh, yeah.
even after telling her that he most likely.
It doesn't matter. He still did it.
Yeah.
And you gathered enough evidence to prove it. Yeah. You committed the crime, you do the time, which is forever.
In Baldur's Gate, yeah.
In Baldur's Gate, the city of blood.
Well, Luke is now the master.
So yeah,
Yes.
you do have everything. Let me see here. They actually have a rewards docket here, which is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
can we take the Knitting Needles out of evidence?
Yeah, you could keep those if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy some daggers and.
So
If no one
upon
else wants
upon completing this adventure, you gain a level. At the discretion, you may use to decline. You get the 4 hours since we played the full hour. And so you get 80 gold. That's from a collected pot from the people that you saved from the refugees, and also just reward given from the Flaming Fist. Did you use the potion of healing that you found already?
Yep.
Okay, so that's no longer a reward at the end, but you do have the Eyes of the Eagle as a permanent magic item to claim if you so wish.
So I've been prepping that one, and I thought somebody already said Scarborough.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Apologize.
No, that's fine. That's why I was like, yeah. Like, someone knows what it comes with at least.
Yeah, I've been prepping. I ran the first one, but I've started to prep this one. I wanted to run the third.
Oh, well, hey, now you got my version. You can change it up.
And one thing I noticed between this one and the first one says, the mater says that she's a dumb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it actually says she's 10, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas I'm pretty sure when I ran it said that she was
Hey, just like season 8.
Yeah, I know. They did that multiple times.
All of the fun mistakes.
Yeah.
probably be few of these.
Well, I think Dara is actually a recurring character throughout all of these because I've seen her
Oh, man,
descriptions for other ones.
I was hoping it was the goat.
Yeah.
I also
Like-
hope she goes.
Like when you first said that, Kevin, I immediately, God, what season had the creepy girl?
I thought she started with season 1, I thought.
Yeah, and she would pop
But
up.
she
like,
was
randomly.
present even in like season 5 or something.
Yeah, season 5 was less.
She was a little goat lady.
Yeah,
Mhm.
hillbilly goat lady. Like he ain't real, he did.
That's funny. Well, I hope y'all had fun, and this was a
Yeah.
Roll20 experience, so hopefully y'all enjoyed that as well, and it wasn't too cumbersome for the first-time users.
Yeah.
No, I definitely think we're running stuff. So, we worked way too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope it's more DMs that decide to.
Yeah, so
Run
the
stuff.
burden on all of us, but yeah, no, thank you so much, Kevin. For
Yeah.
doing the tutorial and for saving us the response.
I did record this entire thing, so I'm going to be splitting it out to like 4 different segments, an hour each. So you can see my side of the screen and how I did the things that you did not see.
Okay.
So yeah, thanks for playing. We
Yeah,
we end on time, which is the goal.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. No, and I enjoyed, like, still had fun. Like, I was, we had role play, we had combat, goats, and other fun.
That's the important part.
Yes.
Yeah.
There must always
Gonna
be
have to
time
take
for goats.
invisibility now.
We all understand that.
Yes, invisible goats.
Mhm.
I do have one question I forgot to ask at the very beginning.
Yes.
Do we get the 100 gold to spend on a single item?
That's on tier 2.
God, I knew it was, so I had to ask. Okay. Never mind.
And for the tier things like that, they disappear at the end of the session if you haven't already used them. So like tier 1, our bonus was a potion.
Yeah.
Inspiration.
So if you didn't use that 3 potion,
Which I think everyone might have drank it anyway because of that first fight.
Yeah.
I drank
Yeah.
mine pretty quick.
Yeah, Jimmy used 2 potions.
There are opportunities for more fights in this module, but y'all did expert ways of getting around them. So congratulations. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, I know Karen and I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Fun to have.
I have a non, I guess, silly question.
Hmm?
I know that I know the post has their fault, probably next session.
So I think you do that outside of the editor, like outside of the game session.
Yeah. You go into the vault and you can import characters for games.
It's on the Roll20 website itself and not the inside the game.
It's really easy to find. The tools. Yeah, it says import existing character. You choose the game that you played in and stop it is there, and you should be able to import the character. But then exporting the character, I think, depends on whether the GM has a subscription or not. That's what I read.
I do have a subscription, so I don't know if that lets you do it.
Yeah, no, that's because I was reading, and if a DM doesn't have subscription or didn't pay for the module, that you can't export your character into that DM's game. You have to create the character.
I will say that on all of the Season 8 games that I did, all 15 of them, my characters recreate their stuff unless you were in a previous game. If you were in a previous game, I personally can import your sheet into the next one or even a one in the future. So now that you have your character sheets in this game, as long as I keep the sheets in the game, I can import them into others.
Yeah. It's like if someone plays one of your games, and then if I run a game, I went ahead and paid for the subscription, they could import their character from your game and export it into mine.
Yeah, I think all three of us.
Yeah. Just to make it easy for people, since it's more likely people will be switching between now.